Oh. Where did I leave I left a bunch of shit somewhere. I was carrying like my hat and stuff. All right, and we are live all around the world here from Ebisu Circuit, Japan for Formula Drift Round 2. Hello everyone, my name is Alexi Smith. I'm out here today with Ryan Sage. Hello, there we are.
Here's our nice puff right here.
Yeah, we got a. It was rain. Looked like it was going to rain a little bit before, but so we have to cover all this stuff up. Like I just said, round 2 of Formula Drift Japan here this time at Ebisu Circuit, otherwise known as the motherland of drift, the drift sacred land, as you just saw in the commercials there. Great place to be. I'm really happy to be here. Ryan Sage, good to see you again.
Yeah, I'm really stoked to be on here. It's always fun to come back to Ebisu, and you know, being out here on the course that people are not used to seeing is always exciting. We saw some really good action last year with Mad Mike taking the win. We've got a great start to the season so far with Koichi Yamashita taking the victory at Suzuka, and looking like if the weather holds up, we'll see some good qualifying here today to set up for tomorrow's top 32 competition. Yeah. 36 drivers in the field here, so only 4 are going to be bowing out of competition after today's event.
And as you can see on the monitor there, you can see the background there, the mountains in the distance there, just near Ebisu Circuit. There's some clouds there. We're not really sure what the weather is going to do here today. As you can see, it's quite windy right now. It was sort of sprinkling with rain a little bit before as well. But we'll see how it goes here at Ebisu Circuit. Of course, they do have the saying, Ebisu weather. Even the locals, you know, they all know that. They all know that they always joke that the weather can change at any moment, so that'll make things interesting.
Well, we are hearing that it is a possibility of rain showers at about 3 p.m. local time. So it's 1 p.m. local time now, so that's 2 hours. That should give us at least a good chunk of qualifying finished. But we'll see exactly how long it actually takes for the weather pattern to hit us, if it does at all.
All right, so if everyone is just joining us now, what you're watching right now is qualifying for tomorrow's competition. We're going to be running all the cars, 2 solo runs, each judged by our judges up here in, of course, the judging stand. And we're about to begin. So today you're about to see qualifying for the main event tomorrow, the top 32 battles, which will be held tomorrow, which is Sunday in Japan. As Ryan said, the time here right now is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to be running these cars twice, all the way through the field. So here we go with our first driver now, all the way from Australia, Nick Wilson, the J6100 Mark II. So a great start today there with Nick Wilson. Now this course, you would have seen it in last year's competition. Not really that different insofar as the judging format and layout. You can see that Nick Wilson, great run. Of course, Nick Wilson, a former winner of the a certain other series, the East Series drift competition here at Ebisu Circuit. So great run from him.
Yeah, starting off well as Nick, and we'll get an opportunity to take a look at the course layout here. You can see those 3, 2, 1 cones designate where the judges want you to start, the latest point of initiation. Then you've got that first outer zone into that first inside clip, the second outer zone here, and then coming across the course to that third outer zone, and then the final inside clip through the finish line. So a good start for Nick Wilson. You can see he pretty much hit all the clips and the outside zone, so it was a solid run for him. Way to start it off there, and he'll have 1 more to go as we move on to our next driver.
So yeah, Nick Wilson from South Australia, I believe, all the way over here. So the car he's driving today is actually a rental car. Fairly simple sort of build on that. 1JZ TD06 turbo. But you can see even with that fairly simple sort of 450 odd horsepower setup, good score for there. Nick Wilson, an 83. Of course, Nick, one of the Team Kazama Power Vehicles guys. Of course, Andy Gray, a former champion of this series, has his base and his setup here at Ebisu Circuit. So he has a great amount of support he can give to a lot of drivers who come over here to compete in the Formula Drift series. We'll be seeing a lot of them later on. But before we do that, let's move on to our next driver now. Tomonori Tasaka, all the way from Hiroshima. It's a long way to come up here to Ebisu Circuit. Let's see his run. So he comes down the road. Fairly early entry there in the outer zone. off the accelerator for a very long time now. This is the most important part of this course, that first hairpin. We can see there once again, Tasaka, his timing's just a little bit off. This is obviously not a circuit he's used to driving at all.
Let's take a look at this run here. Run number 1 for Tasaka. You can see he's going to initiate right at the second standing cone. Good angle there, fills that first outer zone, so nice job there. You can see coming through this first inside clip, does a pretty decent job there as well. Gets out pretty close to that second outer zone and a nice flick back around, just taps that outer zone, first cone, but he goes a little bit long on that final inside clip. A good overall run, nice angle, good initiation, nice approach. Just maybe leaving a couple points on the table for overall line, but should be a good start for him.
Yeah, this course, not the usual sort of layout used here at Ebisu Circuit. This is a fairly specific layout to the Formula Drift series. This particular part of the course can be configured in many different ways, but this one does give the highest amount of speed on entry and makes for some great tandem battles, which we're going to be seeing tomorrow. So the score there, 71 for Tomonori Tasaka. So good first couple of runs of the day. So if you'd like to judge along at home and see if you're going to get a score similar to what our judges are getting, what they're looking for is as the cars come down the main straight, there is the, as is usual, 3, 2, 1 cones on the side of the track. The judges are looking roughly to see people enter where the second set of cones are laid down. But of course, there is a bit of leeway there if you want to start further back. Of course, that's going to give you a greater score, but of course, as was pointed out in the drivers' meeting this morning, the tricky part of this course is getting all of your timing right and keeping the amount of speed you have, the amount of angle you have, all the way through the outer zone into the first inner clip. Now, that is going to be the biggest tricky part of this course. Not only do the drivers have to be good drivers to make it through this course, they have to have a good feeling for their car's current setup, their car's power, and how to control their car to get it all the way down to the end of the track there to the first inner clip, without getting too much on the handbrake, without getting off the accelerator for too long, which we just sort of saw a little bit there for Tasaka. There's a bit of slight hesitation. That's what the judges don't want to see. They want to see these drivers drive very aggressively and confidently through the course. So we're already 2 cars through our qualifying here today. So I believe it might be a case of, right now, you can see there on the start line, there is a lot of oil dry right there on the start line. That was due to another car, I believe, which had a main seal issue, which resulted in quite a lot of oil being dumped on the track there. They might have just been checking that just to make sure it's okay for the car starting off. Okay, next driver now, MOROZUMI TAKAHITO, driving the S15 Silvia. Now this Silvia has been around for a very long time. It was previously seen as a white car, but this is its first time entering the Formula Drift series. There he comes down the straight. Quite a wide entry there. Nice, all the way out into outer zone. Now watch the inner clip 1. Bit of hesitation there, shifting down through the gears. Second outer zone, through the hairpin. A lot of throttle and clutch work there, so MOROZUMI maybe not quite used to this car yet. It is a car that he's driving for the first time in this competition. Let's have a watch of this
We can see this really big wide swing here as he initiates, and really the drivers are just trying to get out as far as they can to that first outer zone. It really does set you up really well if you're able to fill that zone with the right amount of momentum coming through that section. But you can see there the second and third outer zone not really filled right there by MOROZUMI, so he'll have a score in the book, but he'll probably be looking to improve on run number 2.
So of course these guys all they get 2 runs here today, not consecutively. We will run the entire field with 1 run, and then they get their second run. So similar to how it's normally done in Formula Drift back in the States. So MOROZUMI there, actually working at the company DG5, a suspension company. Normally he's there developing their suspension parts, but decided to take out their car and campaign it in Formula Drift this year. So score there 66. So we can see there Fairly low scores from all of them, especially, yeah, style, only a 20. That's what we're saying. You know, running this course in a very confident way is what they're looking for. Okay, next driver now from Team Mori, Yoshimi Mori. Now, if you ever said to someone, give me a sort of stereotypical, you know, image of a Formula Drift driver, what does he look like? Well, you know, I guess if you're from the States, beard, tattoos, sort of thing, right? Am I not far off? Mori-san is about a 60-year-old guy with a grey ponytail. Here he comes, S15, really fast entry there. Look how fast he's on the entry. Very early on the accelerator to the first half of the course, but the second half, listen to that engine rev out. A bit of a stall there on the final hairpin too. So a bit hit and miss that run there for Mori. It started off good, but there was a lot of weak points in this run.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of hesitation on initiation here, just not really fully setting himself up or committing to that initiation. He won't fill that first outer zone all the way, and he's going to go very, very wide on that first inside clip. As he tries to get out to outer zone 2, he's going to enter a little bit too early. He does make his way back around to that third outer zone, doesn't fill it completely, so he's going to, you know, have some deductions on the line, probably some style. And on style, we have 3 categories within style. Initiation, fluidity, and commitment. So initiation 10 points, fluidity 10 points, and commitment 10 points. And what Ryan Lantain, one of the judges, talked about specifically in terms of fluidity was really just the transitions back and forth through this course, which there are quite a bit of them. So you can see reflective in the score there. Yeah,
unfortunate score there for Mori, a score of 64, our lowest score yet. Of course, I'd like to remind you all that we are starting from the bottom of the field, moving up to the top. So these are guys which have either, this is their first time entering the competition, so they have no points on the board, or they are ranked very low. So
he's got to do an onsen later.
Why's that?
Because he'll be more relaxed.
I agree. Where we are right now, Ebisu Circuit, there is a hot spring town not 10 minutes from here. Okay, next driver now. Also from Team Mori, Atsushi Wachi, also S15. S14 Sylvia, sorry, S15 front on that car. Again, another sort of similar run to what we just saw there. A lot of accelerator work. Now, this particular course, we have seen it run before by the guys who can run really well. Not on and off the throttle, very on the throttle. Let's watch this replay again.
Yeah, you can see here just how important that first outer zone, and this is kind of a slow roll into initiation. He's going to try to enter the zone, but he comes off it a little bit early, doesn't go as deep. You can right there on that first inside clip, better job. A little bit late on that second outer zone, much better on the third outer zone, and tightens it up for that last inside clip. So you can see some areas on the course drivers are really able to nail, but it really all starts with your initiation to that first outer zone, trying to link the turns together, hit those outer zones and inside clips with as much fluidity as possible, and you'll have those scores up in the 80s, low 90s potentially. So right now our highest score 83, lowest score 64, and we have 4 drivers at least right now that are in competition that will not make it into tomorrow, so that bottom 4 will be knocked out.
So of course the fluidity, we will be seeing that later on as we move up the qualifying field. This particular course does lend itself very well to people who have a good amount of balance in their driving and skills in the car. Right, so moving on to our next driver now, car number 77, Masataka Kawashima, JZX 100 Mark II.
That's cool, he's from El Dorado. It's a nice place.
El Dorado, is that a place over in the States, is it?
Yep.
What does it mean? It means Golden Road? No. El Dorado, what does that mean?
I believe it is tied to, yeah, Oro, gold.
Is gold something? Okay, I don't know. But speaking of a golden car, here comes a golden black car. Very shallow line. You can see him come all the way in there, trying to make that clip, but sacrificing a lot of line. So not bad in the final clip there. Slowed down nicely and got around there. But this run overall, watch where he goes from the outer zone to the first inner clip. Watch this.
Yeah, you can just see once again some of these guys struggling to really commit to that initiation and fill that first outer zone. Comes off a bit early there, loses a little bit of angle, then he's on a very tight line to that first inside clip. Now he's having to basically drive the vehicle out to that second and third outer zone, but he's unable to do that, doesn't have the right momentum. Better job on that last inside clip, but that is one of the easier parts of the course. When the judges were laying out a lot of the points, a big chunk of it is going to be in this first section here from initiation to outer zone 1 and inside clip 1.
So this particular course, we have been seeing sort of varying amounts of speed on entry through practice this morning and also yesterday, as the drivers try and find a way that suits their driving skills and cars. So their score there, 61 for Kawashima. So we're sort of hovering around the, so we're sort of going down, down, down as we're going through the field here.
I think it was kind of better than last time, though. Remember like going through was basically spin.
Yeah, we had how many was it, like almost 10 in a row? I think it was 9.
We were worried about filling a full field for a while there.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Yeah, the last time at Suzuka Circuit, we were actually worried we might not have a top 32 to run. Okay, next driver now, Kusaba in the S13 Silvia. Nice early entry, holding a lot of speed. There we go. That's what we want to see there. Brings it in, hits the first clip, inner clip, and out of zone 2, out of zone 3. Nice on the throttle the whole way around, tucks it in through the final inner clip. Now there we go. I think we're going to see the scores returning and going up again this run from Kusaba.
Well, you can definitely see on the style side, the initiation is great. It's a quick rate to angle, doesn't use the e-brake too much, fills that outer zone, and great commitment there. And he kind of late apexes a little bit that first inside clip, which sets him up pretty nicely for that second outer zone. Great job coming back around to that third outer zone. Could have been a little bit deeper there, but this overall, this is a pretty strong run. I imagine this is going to be above 75, maybe as high as in the low 80s. So good start there, nice aggressive flick, and good momentum.
There we go. So good score there, 83, our equal highest score so far there for Yusuke Kusaba. So Kusaba, one of these sorts of guys, always got a grin on his face. Always happy to see you. It's good to see him get a good first score there. Okay, our next driver now will be, see him just in the warm-up box, the burnout box there, coming down. I think they're waving him down. Here he comes. One of the old school drivers here today, Kuniaki Takahashi, otherwise known as Kuni, who I do believe did one season of Formula Drift over in the States. 2 seasons. Was it 2 seasons? Yeah? Oh, okay. He did a season over in the United States, coming off a championship win in a certain other Japanese series. Went to the States and did nowhere near as good as he would have hoped or thought. So Kuniaki not heading back to the States anytime soon, but he's here today at Formula Drift Japan in his Mark X 2JZ powered sedan. Okay, so nice entry there, filling the outer zone. Running really, really wide there on the inner clip. Second outer zone, third outer zone. Now that was looking really good until the front end kind of washed out, the front end kind of understeered a bit. So let's just watch this replay for a second here. So watch this Kuniaki running nice and wide there, but watch this part here. Right about there, you see the front of the car understeer and push wide. It kind of four-wheel slides out really wide. Kuniaki seeming to managing to recover, seeing what's happening and recover the car, continuing on with the outer clip 2 and 3, the outer zone 2 and 3. But yeah, that particular part of the course, quite important as far as judging goes. I've seen a few guys so far make mistakes there, and it has cost them. So decent run for Kuni, but yeah, that one little mistake there is going to knock down the score a fair bit, I'm going to say. So if you're just joining us now, welcome to Formula Drift Japan, round 2 here. We're here today at Ebisu Circuit, Nishi course, Nishi being the Japanese word for west. We're running the what's now known as the Formula Drift layout on this particular track. We are just doing qualifying right now. We're not even a third of the way through the field of the first run, so plenty of drifting to go here today. We're doing qualifying today, of course, the main competition tomorrow. So I hope to see you back for that as well. The weather right now, quite windy. All right, here comes our second, our next driver now, Takanori Yoshida from Super Made S15 Silvia. 15-inch wheels, candy glitter paint. His run so far not quite looking as good as the car itself does. And a little bit of a stall there on the inner clip as well. Let's watch this replay. So here he comes again, Yoshida. The kind of guy who he'd rather look good and lose than look bad and win. And as you can see with the car there, knocking over one of the out of zone markers. And watch this here, right there. The car sort of stalls up a bit, flicks back, the flick back to a little bit weak. And right there to another sort of stall. So overall, not going to be a good score for Yoshida. But of course, it is only his first run. They do get 2 qualifying runs here at this particular competition. So there's still a chance for any of these guys to improve their score. You can see they're looking back up towards the pits. Their score there at 55 for Yoshida. So yeah, not a great score for him. Of course, he still does have one more chance to improve that.
Getting some good wind in here, huh?
Yeah, it's quite windy. Okay, next driver now, car 38, Fukada. Now, Fukada, I believe he's the reason why there's that big patch of oil down there on the track. He blew a main seal a while ago. But looks like he's fixed it. Here he comes. A little bit shallow in the entry. The line way off the right line there for Fukada. And stalling up there. This is a bit of a train wreck of a run so far for Fukada. Spinning out. Wow, okay. Something major going on there with Fukada.
Yeah, tough break there. Very unusual for him, to say the least. Usually comes out pretty strong here, but struggling through the entirety of the run here. You can see kind of slow to initiate, doesn't fill that first outer zone. Then he takes a tight approach to that first inside clip because of that. Now he's almost driving straight there as he tries to get to that second and third outer zone. And then right here, just a bit too much angle in the vehicle. Can't hold it going down off camber, and he will receive an incomplete.
Yeah, that was a bit of an unfortunate run there for Carter. Putting in a huge effort to fix his car and make it out here for qualifying. So you see there a score of 0, unfortunately, for Fukada. That's a bit of a shame for him. Still does have one more chance. Okay, next driver now, all the way from Australia, Chris DeJager. Now Chris, no stranger at all to Ebisu circuit. He did live here at Ebisu for about a year. And he's back now. He spent a whole week, 2 weeks building this car. A lot of spin in the entry, very deep. Off the edge of the track and a spin for Chris DeJager. That was a very ambitious entry. Chris DeJager holding a lot of speed very late. He was doing a good 10-15 kilometers an hour faster than everyone else in front of the judging stand. Let's watch this replay.
Yeah, you can see a big initiation here. Just he initiates a bit too late, doesn't get the timing right, and then off the course. Now we've seen some guys actually go up into that hill and have some pretty spectacular crashes. He is able to avoid that, but goes way off course, and at that point he pretty much gave himself an incomplete.
Yeah, Chris DeJager building this particular car in 2 weeks. He used to have a JZX 90 here at, so the score there, 0 for Chris DeJager on his first run. Chris used to have a JZX 90 here at Ebisu circuit as a competition car. Unfortunately, put it into the wall at Minami course at a competition about a couple of months ago. Came back here about 2 weeks ago, transplanted all of the bits and pieces of the car over. And he's back here today competing in Formula Drift. All right, next driver now, Masayo Minoa, our only female driver here today. She comes in her JZX 100 Chaser. Very conservative entry, but still not that bad, quite clean. Slowing down and missing that first inner clip. Taking a very middle line throughout the entire course. So this is, I believe she's taking the conservative approach. Sort of doing a sighting run with her first lap, it looks like. Masao Minowa, here comes the replay.
Yeah, let's take a look at this one more time here. You can see as she initiates, she's going to try to get out to this outer zone here, but comes up a bit short. Then she's going to overshoot that and going to make a big mistake on the line here. So she will get a score in the books. It's not going to be the greatest, but she'll go back and try again for run number 2.
Yeah, Masao Minowa, as some people may know, may have guessed, the wife of Shinji Minowa, who is also out here today competing. So that is her personal JZX100. And they've also got their son out here in the pits. He's got his drift cart. What do they call it? Yeah, crazy cart. Drifting cart thing. He's buzzing around in the pits. So score there 49 for Masao Minowa on her first run. So I really would like to say it's nice weather here at Ebisu today, but it is. But man, those mountains in the background are getting darker and darker by the minute. Let's hope they can hold off for qualifying to be completed before it starts raining. All right, here comes our next driver now. Yoshinori Shinozaki, TSJ All-Stars, JZX100, a regular competitor of Formula Drift.
It's okay now?
You can see there's a fairly good view of the course there from one of the spectating areas. That's the view they have. So this particular course, a lot of different places you can view it from. I'd say it's, if you had to compare it to one of the courses in the US series, I guess Atlanta. It's sort of a long straight into a hairpin and loop around. I don't know.
Obviously, entry speeds are a lot different, but
Yeah,
I mean, in terms of some similarities, sure, I can see that. Yeah, a little bit of going downhill in certain areas. It's hard to really recreate Road Atlanta, but
am I reaching a bit with that?
Well,
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people over in the States who are watching this who don't really have much of a perspective on this particular track. But then again, I've never been to Atlanta, so I can't really tell. And I'm not really even sure what time it is in the States. What is it? It's probably about
I think it's like
midnight.
Yeah, East Coast or West Coast depending. Yeah, I think we're right around there.
It's about 2 in the afternoon here at Ebisu Circuit. Pretty much all of Japan runs at a similar time, so don't forget to join us tomorrow as well. Put that in your phones. Give yourself a reminder. We'll be back tomorrow with the top 32 and top 16 all run in one day. Just clearing off some of the gravel and junk off the track before we run the next car. Next driver, Yoshinori Shinozaki. If you've been watching Formula Drift Japan for a while now, you definitely would have seen this car before. Shinozaki never really getting really, really high in the results, but they're always quite consistent. Here he comes the entry, nice, right on the second entry marker, but falling very short. That entry was too early for the amount of speed he was carrying. And just completing the course. But yeah, Ryan, that's what we've been talking about. The balance between entry speed and also carrying it all the way to the end of the track. He didn't do it in this case. Let's watch the replay.
Yeah, and this run-up is relatively short, and it's meant to be that way for a specific purpose, and that's for drivers to go full out all the way down the hill into initiation so they could fill that first outer zone. And as you said, Shinozaki comes off a bit early there, just didn't get the timing right. He'll get a score in the books, but it certainly will be low. He'll want to be looking to improve on run number 2.
Yeah, he didn't straighten up, but he was on the handbrake for a long time trying to keep the car at angle and still make it around that first inner clip.
Feeling a few drops.
Yeah, my score sheet is getting a bit wet right now. We're getting a little bit of rain. This is actually fairly typical for Ebisu Circuit, where you get sun, and then it usually goes sun, rain, and then it goes sun, wind, rain, dust, rain, wind, and then it clears up.
That's a very, very particular order.
It just always happens. I think it's just the geography of it around here. We have a big mountain range just behind Ebisu Circuit. Of course, Ebisu is actually about halfway up a mountain.
With some snow still left on it.
Yes, they still have a bit of snow left up there. Those mountains are quite high. And they do get the cold wind blowing over from the other side, from down from Russia, Siberia, and also Korea. And it just warms up by the time it gets to us. So that's why you sort of get this weird weather. You get the warmer Pacific air hitting the colder air coming down from the northwest. That looks like rain coming down there. Just there, ladies and gents, at the top of screen. It's definitely going to get wetter before it gets better here at Ebisu Circuit. Right, so score there for Shinozaki, yeah, 48. So about what you'd expect for that run. Here comes our next driver now. Hong Kong, James Tang in the 1 Series, I believe it is, BMW. Although the engine in it, not one of Bavaria's finest 6s. It is a 2JZ with a big turbo sitting on it. All right, here he comes down the course. Very, very early entry for James Tang, but still managing to hold his speed all the way through the course. And this is the sort of thing we want to see. Slowing down a little bit there, just shifting down the gears. Out of zone 2, out of zone 3, in a clip. This is not a bad run for him. Definitely an improvement over the runs we've seen in the past few runs. Let's watch this replay.
Yeah, we certainly have seen some really dramatic improvement from James over the past few months. Coming into this event, watching him in practice, you can see a little bit twitchy there, but he is able to get pretty close to that first outer zone. Kind of a little bit of a struggle on that inside clip, though, as he tries to reach from there to that second outer zone and then transitioning with fluidity down to that third outer zone. So he'll certainly want to get a better run in the books, but that was a good start for James as he makes his way back to the grid.
Yeah, that run sort of it illustrates that timing is very important. That run could have been better than it was. Just that whole, shifting down, hitting the brakes at the right time, getting off the accelerator at the right time. It's all down to millisecond timing. And of course, we are slowly getting a bit of rain on the course now, so this is going to make things interesting. So score there, 67. So not an awesome score, but not too bad compared to what we've seen so far. Of course, all these guys do get one more run. Here comes the next driver now. Tetsuya Iha in the GRS 200 Series Crown Athlete. It's a fairly new car by Toyota. It's the latest of the Crown Series, and it's a big mother of a car. And Iha, for some reason, taking a very, very, very timid entry there. Just a little pull of the handbrake. Very little angle through the entire course. Right, I'm not really sure what he's trying to do there, where he's just trying to feel out the course or what.
Yeah, like you said, very timid approach there. The judge is really looking for an aggressive flick into initiation. You can see here, I mean, that's not even really that much of initiation at all. It's basically a little an e-brake pull that barely puts angle in the car. So this is going to be a very low score here. He's certainly going to want to improve on this. And he was really dancing with an incomplete there on initiation. So we'll see where it comes in, but certainly he's going to want to try to push it a little bit harder in run number 2.
To his credit, he didn't. The car didn't straighten back up after entry, which would have been absolutely disastrous for him. But yeah, not. We were having the Team Orange staff giving demo drives before in their Ebisu Circuit drift taxis, and I think they were doing better with 3 people in the car, and I think they were doing better entries than what we just saw there.
Getting called out, you did it.
Oh, I went there. We've got to see better runs than that. Tetsuya Iha. So score there, yeah. 40 style, a big old 8. a big 8. Looks like a pair of binoculars, which he's got to use to look for some more style. Okay, so next driver now, Car Guy Racing, Shinichiro Saito. As the rain and wind begin to pick up here at Ebisu. A little bit of a wobbly entry. Oh, don't straighten up there. Okay, making it all the way through the entry without straightening up. But again, this run, as you can hear there through the mic, very on and off the accelerator.
I have to wonder if maybe some of the drivers are becoming a bit more timid because there is a little bit of rain, though it seems to be evaporating before it gets down to the course. I wonder if they're just playing it a little bit safe here. We haven't gone out and given them reconnaissance laps yet. We have the team looking to see how much moisture is actually getting to the surface of the track and making a difference, and they haven't put out the reconnaissance laps yet. But I'm just wondering if drivers are maybe taking kind of a little bit more of a conservative approach, or worried that, you know, they're going to get it incomplete by throwing it in super hard. Because we're getting a little bit of rain, but it's definitely not sticking to the ground yet.
Yeah, like it wouldn't be that much of an issue. So should be interesting to see what happens here. So we are about 1/4 of the way through qualifying here at Formula Drift Japan, round 2 at Ebisu Circuit. So we score there 54 for Shinichiro Saito. So it could have been better. Hopefully we'll see him do better on his second run. Okay, we are about to head to a commercial break. We'll be back in about 2 or 3 minutes. Stay with us. We'll see you soon. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Formula Drift Japan, round 2 here at Ebisu Circuit. Thank you for being with us here on the live stream. We are currently about a quarter of the way through qualifying for tomorrow's main top 32 competition. For anyone just joining us now, once again, I'm Alexi Smith. I'm here with Ryan Sage over from the United States. And there's no pause in the action. We're about to go straight to our next driver, who is not Hubert Lee. Hubert just, or is it Hubert Lee? No, it's not. No, Hubert had a bit of a crash, which means our next driver is going to be Hayato MIYOSHI in the R34. All right, here we go. Nice, aggressive entry. Here we go. All right. He's turned it up.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the best runs we've seen so far here today. Just hitting the outer zone marker with the tip of his GT wing. There we go. Ryan, this is the sort of run we wanted to see. Let's watch the replay.
That'll get you amped up a little bit.
Yeah.
That'll get you jacked up. No, nice run here by MIYOSHI. You can see very aggressive on initiation. Great flick here. Nice rate to angle. Perfect on that first outer zone. You can see right here he tightens up that first inside clip. Reaches out to that second outer zone very nicely. Great flick back around. And then right here, he's just going to go a little bit too wide on that final inside clip, but leaving a few line points on the table. But overall, a tremendous run. Very aggressive. You can see the fluidity was there, but he also had very snappy transitions, which is what the judges like to see. They want to see you driving on the edge of being out of control, but maintaining that posture throughout the majority of the course, and he did just that. So I think that's going to be a very high score, if not the highest.
Yes, the judges are extremely demanding and very high maintenance. They require all sorts of difficult things. Like, as you said, not only do they want a high-speed entry and a big flick on the entry, they want you to maintain that angle all the way to the outer zone 1 and into the first inner clip. And then not only that, they want you to continue drifting after that in a nice fluid way, but not only just fluid and languid sort of movement, they want you to flick it hard left and right all the way through the course. So if it sounds hard, it is. Even though we have so many top-level drivers here at this competition. The scores so far have not been all that high, so there is plenty of room for improvement for these guys. Hopefully the ones who didn't get a great score in their first qualifying run are going to go down, going to throw down even harder on their second run. So that's what we want to see. This particular course, not really that high risk of a track. insofar as crashing is concerned. Oh, okay. Sorry, just missed the score there because our monitor was about to fall down because of the wind here. Score of 86 there, so score of 86 for Hayato MIYOSHI, which is our highest score so far.
So you see that? I made a claim. Highest score potentially, and it was.
You did, there you go, and it was, definitely. So that is the sort of run, that is sort of what we'd like to see from that level of driving and up. I think is what's required to get a decent score here today. So yeah, sort of mid-80s, what you'd expect to see from a mid-80s and up run. And so, of course, if you are watching us, you might want to jump on, you know, jump on your Facebook or something and let your friends know you're watching. Send them a link.
Just say hashtag FD Japan, yo.
Is it FD Japan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there you go. Just yeah, take a photo of where you're watching from, and hashtag FD Japan. I know I always get a lot of Snapchats of people sort of, you know, it's interesting. People either watch this. This is where they watch. They're either watching in their bedroom, like with 2 monitors, or they're in a garage working on their car with their laptop in the garage, watching this while they're working on the car.
Yep.
That's the 2 main things, the 2 main places people seem to send me photos of them watching this competition. So there you go, score there. Hayato MIYOSHI, 86 in his ER34 Skyline. So that is it's not a GTR, for the people out there who are not sure. All Skylines like that are not GTRs. If you're not 100% aware of how all the models work here. So it's the ER34, which is actually just a regular rear-wheel drive coupe, which came with the 2.5 litre RB25, not the twin-turbo RB26, which is the GTR engine. So I know a lot of people still don't know that non-GTR Skylines exist, but that's what that car is. All right, so next driver now, Jin Horino. Nice speed on the entry, a little bit shallow, but holding his speed all right on the handbrake on and off. This is a step in the right direction, definitely, for qualifying here today. Jin Horino, this car, a fresh build for this year back at Suzuka. It had only just been barely finished. He said he'd wrapped it the night before, and it looks like since then he's done a bit of tuning on it. The car is performing, especially the engine sounds like it's performing really well. Yeah,
a good start here for Jin. You can see coming down, very aggressive on his initiation. Not the rate to angle that you'd like or holding it the way that you would like, but overall pretty decent job there. Hits that first inside clip. Good angle back around towards that second outer zone. Nice smooth fluid transition into that third outer zone, and nice and tight on that last inside clip. So good start there for Jin as he finishes up his run. Our highest score is still an 86 from MIYOSHI.
And then we have a score of 83. So good start there for Jin Horino, putting it down a decent score on the board. So Jin, also a very experienced racing driver, sort of showing there the run not too loose, but just slightly short of maybe what he thinks his potential could be, and getting down a good score on the board to start off with before doing his second run after all these other guys have finished. Okay, next driver now. S13 Sylvia, Kanta Yanaguida. The retina burning S13. I'm sure it doesn't look as bright on the TV screen as it does in real life. So decent run, running very wide there, just managing to keep it on the track. Yanaguida's S13 Sylvia still running the SR20. There's quite a lot of cars this weekend still running the SR20. It's not all 2Js in Japan. So it was a good run, a few little points we'd like to point out there. Let's watch the replay.
Yeah, you can see he's going to have a good aggressive approach here, but when he initiates, he's going to come off that first outer zone quite a bit, and then he's going to overshoot the first inside clip as well. So he's struggling on the line here, trying to regain his composure. He's going to get into that second outer zone pretty early. Better job on that third outer zone, though he could have been a bit deeper there. And then the final corner there as he wraps around that last inside clip. Much better job there, but only one section of the course that was actually completed properly, so he will have some deductions, and there you see the score.
So the score there, 67 for Yanaguida. Yeah, of course, if you're judging along at home, it's not enough just to hit the clipping points themselves. It also, the judges also take into account how you approached and how you exited the clipping point. Of course, we saw that Yanaguida, he did hit the clipping point very well, but his entry and exit to how he clipped that was not that great and not that fluid, as Ryan pointed out. Running really wide. Okay, next driver now, Izuka. On the handbrake for a long time there, but average speed throughout the entire course, not really that bad. You can see a lot of potential in this run. Missed out on there by Kazuya Izuka, sorry.
Well, you can see some of the different approaches here on initiation. You have some guys doing the e-brake entry, some guys kind of doing a counterweight one direction. He actually breaks it loose in the other direction there. So I think that's probably the first time that we've seen that. You can see he doesn't fully commit to that first outer zone. He does able to hit that inside clip there. So overall, he's going to have some deductions that he'll have to take a look at and approach for his second run there. He will get a kind of a mid-range score most likely, but certainly could make some improvements there, especially on that first outer zone where everything is set up.
Yeah, there are, unlike a lot of other tracks, there are quite a lot of ways which you can approach the entry, just due to the fact that the run-up is not really that long. So we score there for Kazuya Izuka, a score of 70.
No, I'm seeing a little bit more consistent rain coming down now.
It is starting to, yeah, I can see people in the spectating bleachers who don't have umbrellas.
Saying, nah.
Yeah, they're going, okay, I better go back to the car and get my umbrella, actually. Yeah, it's definitely making some noise on the tent here in the judging stand. But nevertheless, we can see there, Imamaida, our next competitor, with the wipers on. So rain now, it has become an issue. Here comes Imamaida, S14 Sylvia. So, like how we saw there before, fairly conservative entry, sort of middle of the track. Whoa, running really wide there. We saw Imamaida, he ran onto the ripple strip and the back of the car stepped all the way out. Now, earlier this morning, when we were doing a course walk, that particular ripple strip over there was absolutely covered in burnt rubber from all the cars sliding around it. Now, that is going to be an issue. Now, watch this replay here. You can see as he comes around here, out of zone, in a clip. Now, watch the rear of the car as he gets about here.
Yeah, you can see the surface is definitely changing. That painted area there was freshly painted before we came into the venue. Now, a lot of rubber was laid down there, so it does have some grip, but it still is much more slippery than the regular surface. And so what the officials will do here is, once the judges have basically adjusted their scoring to account for the changing conditions, if it gets to a point where it's almost too difficult for the drivers to know what's going to happen to their vehicle on course, they'll send them out for a reconnaissance lap.
Right.
And that looks like that might be happening here quickly. But as the conditions do change, the judges will adjust their scoring. It will be on a curve basis. And so you might see some leniency in terms of the way that they're judging each run, dependent on the conditions, as we get hurricane force winds coming through here right now.
Well, you're being very calm right now. We're actually getting really hammered by this wind and rain right now. It's not so much coming down very heavy, but it's just quite strong wind.
Sideways rain.
It's sideways rain, yeah. Even the rain is sideways today here at Ebisu Circuit for Formula Drift. All right, so I think it has been, it's been confirmed they're going to be sending him out.
It does sound like they're going to do some the next few drivers as a reconnaissance lap. Looks like the conditions have reached a point where it's just a bit too unpredictable. And we have seen this before. We saw this at Road Atlanta this year.
Right.
This does happen from time to time. The judges will always adjust the way that they do their scoring based on the conditions. But if it gets to a point where it's just too unpredictable, then the staff will mandate that the drivers go out for a reconnaissance lap in order to get a feel for the conditions.
Man, it's really, yeah, these are definitely conditions, that's for sure. So a slight break in the action there. We have a score there for Imamaida, a score of 74 for the run we just saw there. Yeah, so good line. So not a bad score not a bad score overall. That big step out he did on the outer zone number 2 didn't really affect his run too much, his score too much. Just trying to see if the conditions are going to settle down for a second. Never a dull moment here at Ebisu Circuit. So once again, just in this short pause in the action, today is qualifying and tomorrow is the top 32 to top 16 battle. So we're running the top 32 in the morning and the top 16 in the afternoon. So if you want to know what times they are, just head over to the Formula Drift Japan Instagram or Facebook page, and they have a little infographic there showing what time it will be on. So basically, whatever time it is where you are now, if you join us tomorrow, we'll be having the competition then. That's the easiest way to remember it. Although Ryan, I take it this isn't the worst sort of conditions you've ever seen at a Formula Drift competition, is it? No, not the worst by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, certainly not the most uncomfortable. I mean, certainly not the most comfortable. But yeah, we've seen, you know, gale force winds, tons of rain. Yeah. I mean, I've seen drivers drift through standing water, New Jersey years ago. Yeah. So I mean, this is nothing in the grand scheme of things, but doesn't mean that I'm having fun getting wet. Well, I'm the guy sitting on the corner over here. All right, so this is not a judged run. You see there, of course, Mad, the unmistakable sound of Mad Mike. Yeah, see, right there, that particular part of the course, that triple strip. Of the old brap from Mad Mike. Was next driver ICHIYANAGI. So these guys just being sent out to check the conditions, and as we saw there, Mike spinning out. Yeah, once you hit that painted area, especially those areas that are not fully covered in tire, it is extremely slippery. There, Oshiro checking the sideways grip of his car. That is our next group of 3 drivers. We have, as you just saw there, Mad Mike, WHIDDETT, all the way from New Zealand. Of course, ICHIYANAGI, Team Zeke, the RB26 powered S13. And all the way from Okinawa, we have Daichi Oshiro in the red JZX 100 sedan. So that's our next group of 3 drivers just being sent out to check the course, because as you've been seeing it, the weather has progressively gotten worse and worse, and the course is now in a condition where the wet surface is going to play a part in how these guys tackle the course. So you can see it doesn't really look that wet, but there is definitely a sheen on the track from where we're sitting. If you look at it at the right angle, wet conditions. But of course, this is drifting. Bit of rain, never hurt anyone. Of course, there are guys out there, they do call them in Japan ame-yaro, or rain dudes. Guys who like the rain, guys who drive well in the rain. If you're known as an ame-yaro, it can be a good thing. Like people go, oh, he's an ame-yaro, he'll be fine if it's raining. Right. Yeah. That can be one of a few things. it can result from the fact that maybe when you began drifting and you had 0 cash, the only time you went out to practice was when it was raining.
Yeah, which we saw on the skid pad when we came in on Wednesday, as a matter of fact, or Thursday rather.
Uh-huh.
There was a little sheen down. We saw guys out there getting it done.
I actually used to do that sometimes. I'd come up to Ebisu circuit specifically when it was raining, just so I could do like 100 laps of Minami without
changing your tires.
Without changing tires. Sort of everything was in slow motion, but yeah, it's one thing to drift in the wet in sort of a fairly close to standard car with small tires on it and low power, but you know, speaking of fairly close to stock power, this is basically the exact opposite of that philosophy here. Mad Mike's quad rotor FD, here it comes. This is his qualifying run. Here he is coming in hot. He's going faster than most of the other guys were going. Oh, and a spin!
Oh.
And a spin out for Mike. It looked like he had that. And completing the course. Ryan, that entry, he was going faster than most of the other guys were going in the dry.
Yeah, he just mistimed that a little bit. I thought he was going to be able to hang on to that, but you'll see here, obviously, on the replay, as now it looks like the weather is changing rapidly here. He fills that zone, but right there just goes off course. You can see the painted section actually extends all the way past the last cone for the first outer zone, and Mike just hits that and spins out into the dirt. So he'll have an incomplete for run number 1, but he will be back for run number 2, better prepared, and we'll see whether or not the conditions hold up or if he'll have to make some adjustments.
Yeah, unfortunately, score there for Mad Mike. Rotaries are shaped like triangles, but Mike's score there is shaped like a big circle, a big 0. Unfortunately for him, that will be a 0 on that run. He still does have 1 run more to go, of course. And of course, you can see there when he did spin out, the conditions we have here today, a lot of dust flew up, even though it's raining quite. It was raining quite heavily until a couple of minutes ago, and it's actually warmed up right now. I'm feeling a bit warmer than I was a few minutes ago.
Did like a little.
Like my legs, it's like someone turned a bar heater on under the table. Okay, next driver now, ICHIYANAGI, Team Zeke. RB26 powered S13. Okay, so this is a bit more conservative. He'll be able to hold this around. So this is the sort of run that he can do. Now watch, just as he goes out wide there, keeping it off the outer zone, number 2. So ICHIYANAGI, conservative run for him there. He could have potentially run that a bit wider with the speed he was carrying to the first outer zone. But still, he will get a score for this run. Yeah,
he will get a score, and it will be graded on a curve. You know, yeah, there are certainly some things he probably could have done to be a bit more aggressive here, especially outer zone number 1. But
that wasn't bad there.
That was not bad, yeah. He could have maybe pushed it a little bit harder there. You can see he kind of had that sideways bite coming out of that first outer zone. A lot of it, or the lack of sideways bite, as a matter just looking as a comparison to the dry conditions here, just kind of sliding in a way of being able to just barely hold on, but he's able to make it through the course. He is going to get himself a score. We'll see how this comes up. This will be our first real score after the reconnaissance lap, and we'll see how the judges treat ICHIYANAGI for run number 1.
So ICHIYANAGI there, Team Zeke, RB26 powered S13 1-via. So score is 68, so not that bad for him. 68. That entire run, apart from that sort of shallow up after the outer zone, wasn't a bad run. Especially in the conditions which we have right now, which it's not wet, it's not dry, it's just kind of slick. Okay, next driver now, Daichi Oshiro from Okinawa. JSX 100. Big car in these conditions. Here he goes. Nice early entry right to the edge of the track, all the way to the edge.
Hold it.
Can he hold it? Can he hold it? Yes, he can. Wow, this is a great run here for Daichi Oshiro. He managed to hold that, whether it was just by luck or by skill, I'm not too sure. Don't spin out there. Don't spin out there. Oh, yeah. That could have been bad. Wow, that could have gone bad a couple of times, but let's watch this replay. Oshiro, wow, what a great run.
Yeah, that's definitely what the judges want to see, especially in these conditions here, pushing the limits, pretty much as far as you can go. Big angle here, does a great job filling that zone, especially considering these conditions. Now right there, he looked like he was going to get into a little bit of trouble, but he was able to keep angle in the vehicle, get out to that outer zone 2 without getting on the paint too much there. And the judges, of course, taking all that into consideration. And then right here, big angle through that last inside clip, and holds on to it and should receive himself a pretty quality score, all things considered.
Now here's the thing, though, if you're judging along at home, do you give a better score? Like, for example, if it's kind of obvious that people, how would I say it, pull the run out of their rear end and just manage to make it through, like, do you give that as good a score as someone who obviously drove the course well and within, like, their amount of control?
What do you mean pulled it out of their rear end? Like,
well, I mean,
like they weren't capable of that. They just
not so much that, but sometimes you just see guys do a run where you're like, yeah, you got lucky that time, buddy.
I think that you're judging the run based on its merits, on the face of it, not necessarily the driver and what you expect from him. So if it's like a mid-tier or like lower driver and he just happens to just, get possessed or whatever, he had a bunch of caffeine, he's like, you know what, I'm just going to pitch it, and he lands it.
Yeah, you give it to him.
That's it.
Well, it's got to happen to everyone one day. Everyone's going to get like that golden run one day. Hopefully they can continue that, and hopefully Daichi Yoshino, that score that you saw there, 78. So in the higher end of the field. But obviously the judges taking other things into consideration on that run. Score there, 78 for Oshiro. Okay, so as you would have just seen there in the background, we just did send the next group of 3 drivers through to check the surface of the track. Now with this wind, Ryan, is it going to immediately dry up the track? I don't know. There's no rain falling anymore. And, well, the table's dried up. I think it's because the director just wiped the table down. But,
and the sun is starting to peek through a little bit here, so...
Yeah.
I mean, there still is a nice-sized rain cloud just to the... I guess is that the north of us?
That's the north, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Yeah, Ebisu weather, ladies and gentlemen. So we're not going to let it stop us. Continuing along with qualifying for round 1 here at Ebisu Circuit, Formula Drift Japan Series, round number 2. So we have a big field here, of course. It always is. There's a lot of prestige to be had in winning a competition at Ebisu Circuit. We're about to have our next driver come out now. Toshiharu Kazama. This is the Kazama Auto Kazama. Here comes 2JZ powered S15. Sylvia up through the gears. Very late on the entry, no.
I think it's shot.
No, he backed out of that. I think it looks like he'd almost backed out of that before he even got into second gear. He was coming down the approach, shifted into second, and then kind of went, put it in third, then went, no.
Yeah, it doesn't really get started here. You can see he's testing it right there, but just not able to break the grip, and unfortunately he'll have an incomplete on run number 1. So the conditions, for some drivers play an interesting role here, especially if you're approaching it a bit timidly. Get yourself into a situation like that, and you'll have to do all your work on run number 2.
That's the trick, isn't it? Knowing how to do it. Of course, we saw that. Yeah, so the score there, 0 for Toshiharu Kazama. We saw with Mike before, as is expected with Mike. Usually, he's just all in and threw it down. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. But then you get other guys who take it conservatively, and they end up with a low score. Next driver now, Wataru Masuyama. Now one of the younger drivers here is 24 years old. Built up this car specifically for this competition. Okay, it's looking good so far. A little bit shallow there, a bit of a wobble there too. Out nice and wide, out of zone 2, out of zone 3. Tap of the brakes just to bring the rear of the car around and settle the front. Yeah, but there's just that first half of the course just a bit all over the place, wasn't it?
Yeah, it looks like we're now kind of getting back to an original state of the course, and the drivers are really going to have to pay close attention to the conditions as they change. You can see he struggles a little bit there after initiation into outer zone 1. Goes a little bit long on that first inside clip. Now back around to the second outer zone and third outer zone, which he does a much better job at it, and then that last inside clip. But he will get himself a score on the board, and as we're starting to see some of these reconnaissance laps here, you can see more smoke on initiation, which is a sign that the track is drying up pretty quickly.
See there, WHIDDETT in the stands. Right now we're just doing another course check for these guys. That's former Drift Japan champion Andrew Gray out on his check run. See there, a lot of smoke appearing on the course now. So are we back to regular dry conditions here? So the conditions are changing as quickly as the groups of 3 are heading out. Yeah, so not 5 cars ago we had Mad Mike driving in basically wet conditions, and now we're our next driver about to go out in dry conditions. So a score there for Masuyama was 69. The teal blue S15 we just saw before. Was that car 2JZ powered S15? I think what was really cool that Masuyama, he used to have an S14 Silvia in a silver, or 240SX for viewers overseas. Is that right? Yeah, 240SX. And it was the same teal color, ran an SR20 with a TD06. He crashed that and then built an S15 in basically the same color, same wheels, and the same tail rack wing. That wing is actually off. It's actually a standard item. It's a factory wing, that wing. A factory Nissan wing, which was an option. Not too many people chose it, but he's transplanted it over to his S15, which is beast of a machine, which he runs now from the drift. Okay, next driver now, RX-7, Junji Yamamoto, up through the gears. Nice, flick, carrying the angle, so nice consistent angle there. You can see that tap of the brakes, brings the rear of the car around, shift down, put the power down, flick it back. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Ooh, that was a bit... no, that was... I mean, he got off the power at the last moment there, but...
yeah, that was a little bit weird towards the end, and that looked like it was in front of the finish line. There's going to be some yellow standing cones at the finish line. Great initiation, nice. Though. Doesn't fully get out to that zone, but you can't really blame him. It's just now starting to get a bit drier here. Great job as he comes around to that second outer zone. Nice flick back around. He's going to be a little bit shallow here, but watch this right here. As he comes across the finish line, he's going to shut it down just right before, or nearly right at it. So we'll have to see what the judges say about that. Most certainly will be a deduction, but he may have been past that last standing cone and saved by the finish line.
Yeah, we can just sort of just see the finish line from where we're sitting. Might be okay. Of course, we're going to have to get the official word from the judges for that. So overall, that run was quite good there for Yamamoto. So definitely running the loudest car here this weekend. Actually, is Mike's car louder? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I always know when he's starting it up. It doesn't matter where I'm at the venue.
Yeah. That's it. I'd hate to be pitted next to Mike. So there's score there, 71 for Junji Yamamoto. So yeah, sort of middle of the road score there for Yamamoto. Room for improvement. That's going to give him a bit of confidence going into his second run, that's for sure. Yeah, whenever you're, no matter where we're in the the staff room upstairs with all the windows shut, and you can still hear when Mike starts his engine. It's like, it's drift time. Okay, next driver now, Andrew Gray, car 100, JSX 100, spinning the wheels all the way down the straight. Filling out of zone number 1, slowing down a little bit, looks okay so far. Watch the flick back here, a lot of angle, flicks back. Once again, carrying a lot of speed, good momentum with this car. Andrew Gray really knows how to carry the momentum with this big, heavy JSX 100 chassis, keeping the power down on the rear wheels at all times.
Well, no surprise here with Andrew Gray. Great initiation, fills that zone. I mean, for somebody that basically lives at this track, you're not too surprised when you see him lay down a solid, clean qualifying run. Not too many mistakes here. Pretty much does everything that the judges are asking for, and he's going to have himself a solid score after run number 1.
Of course, Andrew Gray, yes, quite literally living here at Ebisu Circuit. So score there, 87. I believe is our highest score so far. We had an 86 before for MIYOSHI. So 87, so Andrew Gray, currently our number one in the qualifying points so far. As to be expected, yeah, his workshop is here within Ebisu Circuit itself, and he lives about 2 minutes drive away. 2 or 3 minutes drive away, depending on how you drive. Okay, so I believe that we are not doing the... There's a scratch on that. We're not doing the check runs anymore because the track has dried out. So this will be an actual run for Kazuya Taguchi. Up garage, S15 Sylvia up through the gears. Looking like a good run so far. On the power, shift down, on the power, nice and early. Out of zone number 2, watch the flick back here. Lot of angle, too much angle! And a big shortcut, whoa, off the track. Ryan, is that going to be a 0, do you think? That was a big off-track excursion. He had to really, he almost hit the concrete blocks there. Yeah,
I think that is going to be an incomplete. Let's take a look at this. That's not Shang up there, but we know this as Taguchi, who's done very well in these events. Kind of slow roll into the initiation, starts off pretty decent on that first outer zone. Nice job here. And he's going to come up just a tiny bit early and leave that second outer zone. Better job on that third outer zone, but you can see when he came into it, he comes in with too much angle, and then he has nowhere to go except for off course, and I do believe that will be an incomplete.
Wow, that's a big shame there for Taguchi. The run was looking really good, but yeah, throwing it a bit too hard. Once again, it's just that fine line balance between angle and... All right, so there's 0.
Taguchi came out to Road Atlanta.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, is that right? Who, me? I'm supposed to come out? Oh, I was, but it didn't work. Yeah, I was going to spot for Josh Robinson in Pro 2, but I didn't. I had to do other stuff, so unfortunately, it's a bit of a shame. All right, here we go. Next driver now, Shang Nian. Now, I'm sort of happy it's not wet right now, otherwise we'd probably see him roll into the next dimension. Here we go. Look at the speed he's carrying. This guy is missing several bolts from his head. Watch the flick back here. There we go, that's the sort of thing we want to see. Just gives the inner clip a little bit of a kiss. There we go, that was a good run there for Sheng Nian. Wow. Nian, leaps and bounds every time we see this guy. Yeah, I mean, he's currently sitting in 4th place as we get down to the higher ranked drivers in the series. Shang having a really amazing event in Suzuka and holding strong here. You can see does miss that first outer zone pretty substantially. The second outer zone from that first inside clip, not the greatest, but he does finish up the latter part of the course much stronger, and he will have himself a score. We've only got 3 or 4 zeros or incompletes and a couple of runs that that drivers did not make it to the line, so we're closely approaching that 32 number of scores, and now it'll be a matter of positioning. So let's see where Shang comes in on his first run. So yeah, Sheng Nian currently sitting in 4th place in the championship standings. So score there 82, so up there. Up there for Sheng Nian. Our current 4th place holder. So we're down to the top 3 current point holders after round 1 at Suzuka Twin Circuit. We have here Kazumi Takahashi. Now, Takahashi, quite a few controversial runs and a very aggressive driving at Suzuka. Let's see what he does here in his qualifying run. Very middle line on the entry, but filling that outer zones. Watch the inner clip, now watch it flick it back, a little bit shallow. He really could have a lot more angle with the amount of speed he's carrying. Yeah, that run just sort of lacking a bit. It was cool because it was fast, but it wasn't cool because there wasn't really a whole lot of angle there.
Well, you made an interesting point about where he initiates from the onset. He does take that middle line approach and shoots out towards this outer zone, which you can see he doesn't fill it completely, kind of gets into it a bit, or gets out of it a bit late there, and then that causes him to miss outer zone number 2. Better job on outer zone number 3, and very smoky through that last inside clip there. So, you know, he'll be able to have another opportunity to kind of better that first score, but he will have one in the books. And it should put him, you know, middle pack high or higher with that aggressive driving, though just leaving a few points on the table with probably some line and angle and a little bit of style.
Yeah, he's currently ranked 3rd, but is that a top 3 score? So score there 84, so a decent score there for Kazumi Takahashi on his first qualifying run. So our next driver now, we have currently 2nd in the points ranking, Shinji Minoa, Z34 Fair Lady. Now this car currently running, if I'm not mistaken, a VR38 out of an R35 GTR. So this car coming standard with a V6, but not the 3.8 litre twin turbo that it's currently fitted with. It's out of an R35 GTR. Here he comes. Up through the gears, nice, really good entry there, very big flick on the entry. A little bit shallow there, but watch the second half of the course. Smoking it up. Maybe a little bit too strong on the accelerator there. The car didn't really seem to get a lot of forward momentum when he needed it. Now this run's similar to some we've seen before. The car really like a razor in response, but as a result, it drifts well, but then when you lose the drift, it loses the drift really badly. Well,
the initiation and the line, I think he's going to lose a lot of points there. You can see he doesn't even get out to outer zone number 1, and he's kind of fighting the car here, chopping up the course, trying to get out to those zones and sections, and he does a better job on the second half there, but the first half of the course, he could have done a lot better, especially from initiation to outer zone number 1.
Right about here, the car was sort of, it wasn't putting any grip down on the ground, it was just burning the tyres and not moving forward. So yeah, score there, 61, not a great score there for Shinji Minoa. Just looking at the car and the way it performs, it looks like it's capable of a lot more than that. So once again, oh, and guess what? Guess what's back? It's raining. I can hear the faint pitter-patter on the roof of the gazebo, or the, I don't know what you call this, the pop-up tent thing in the judging stand. It's starting to rain again. We're going to see Koichi Yamashita there. He's put his wipers on. Okay, so we do have a check run. So this is not a qualifying run. This is Yamashita doing a, what they call a check so-call, or a check drive.
Instantly changed.
Wow, yeah, look at that. Zero smoke. All like in 5 seconds, the conditions changed. Wow, that's, yeah. Ebisu weather strikes again. Wow, that's amazing how quickly the conditions can change. But of course, the staff here, of course, very on top of this, making very quick decisions as to whether they should change the format and give the drivers a check run. That's how I feel when I wake up in the morning like that. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of hazy.
It's like
what happened?
Where am I? There we go. Wet, ladies and gents. Oh, it's coming in. The inside the tent.
Now we're getting forward rain. Actually, it's big fat rain.
It is a big old fat rain. We got rain came from the side and it came from the bottom. That's Forrest Gump. If you don't know what I'm quoting there, I'm not just making a dumb voice on purpose. Wow, look at that! Look how quickly it changes. You can see the sheen. Oh, the poor spectators. You know what would be a good thing to do? I know that in Australia, I don't know if we do it recently or not, but there is a track called, what's it called now? Sydney Motorsport Park. It used to be called Eastern Creek, where the main drift corner had a very, very big hill behind it. And you could park your car there and watch. So, like, that's the best thing to do is to be able to, like, sit in your car and watch.
With the heater on.
With the heater on and the wipers, and you got snacks. And that's the way to do it. But then I guess most of you guys watching at home are probably just
doing the same thing.
In your bedroom, in your lounge room, you're in the garage, you know.
Just know we're suffering on your behalf right now.
We're doing it because we love it. And speaking of love it, here comes our current points ranking #1, Koichi Yamashita. His qualifying run, his first qualifying run. And it is raining, very big fat rain right now on this qualifying run, but he's doing a good job of it. Whoa, you can see the car slow down just there. That's not a bad run, to be honest. Of course, Yamashita, old school driver, he's been doing this for a very long time. He would have seen this sort of conditions before. Let's watch this replay.
Well, you get a good understanding of why he is your current points leader, being able to adapt to these ever-changing track conditions. Does a pretty impressive job filling that first outer zone, all things considered, into that inside clip. He does a great job to avoid the painted structure there, at least the painted structure on the edge of the course that doesn't have any grip on it. He's able to pull through there, finish up the run, and he should get himself a great score as we finish up the first run into qualifying here.
Right, so you can see there the conditions that we're dealing with here at Ebisu Circuit. Not only us, but also the drivers, of course. Have a score there, 88.
Wow.
Which is our current highest score. Wow, so our current points champion, you can see why. Koichi Yamashita, a score of 88, our highest score so far. Now, I think it's about time for a commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back in 2 or 3 minutes, hopefully with slightly better conditions. We'll see you soon. Stay with us.
Here, it looks like we are back. Took a little bit of an extended break there, Alexi.
Yep.
We saw a big cell come in here, a lot of rain coming down. And right now, the officials are talking to the judges and vice versa about what we're going to do here. There's a lot of standing water on the course, some actual little tiny almost rivers running through certain sections of the course. It's become extremely difficult to drive. So it's a possibility that we may go on delay until this storm cell clears up, because there is quite a bit of rain here. Now, the good thing is we have most everybody with a score except for a few selected drivers, so there's not too many issues in that regard, but we are seeing that the conditions have worsened to a good degree where we might want to make the call to go on a delay for a little bit, and if we do that, we will keep you guys updated.
Yeah, so we do potentially have time to have a bit of a rain delay and continue later on, but we're still not quite sure exactly what's going on. We're up here in the judging tower, radioing back and forth with the appropriate people, deciding what to do. Of course, this track, in the wet, it can be a little bit dangerous, especially with the certain parts of the track, especially just right near the entry too. There's usually a little river which goes across the track when it does rain very heavily. So we don't want to send these guys out into any sort of conditions that are too treacherous. And
ideally, if we can get more drier conditions, would make for better drifting and overall exciting competition. But
of course,
right now it's coming down to a degree where they want to at least have the discussion with the officials about what would be the best course of action given what is taking place right now and what they can forecast for the next 45 minutes to an hour.
So having a look at the radars and the forecasts. but still not 100% sure. So thank you so much for staying with us during this rain delay. Of course, just before, when we were just finishing off our final runs of the first group of qualifying, and we went to a commercial break, that's when it really came down. We had to basically batten down the hatches and lower the plastic sheets down all around the judging stand and commentary tower. So we're okay now. Don't worry about us, but it's the conditions are not playing ball.
Sounds like we had our competition director go and talk to the drivers. Many of the drivers said that they would like to potentially forego their second lap. Those that have a low score or a incomplete would like to do their second lap. So what may happen here if we don't go on delay is we'll go into the second run of qualifying. There may be some drivers that choose not to utilize their second run of qualifying, but there may be some that will do that. If they do that, they will receive a reconnaissance lap that they can go ahead and check the conditions. And then just as we're sitting here, you know, we're seeing the rain starting to let up a little bit, but it did get very wet there for a second, and big pools of water starting to develop on the initiation area and down near inside clip number 1. And with that very slick surface already on the painted curbs, drivers will definitely have to be very careful in order not to give themselves an incomplete on this second run of qualifying.
Yeah, so there are quite a few drivers who did get a 0 on their first run. Let's see, so we had Fukada, also Krista Jager. That run was not actually caused by any sort of wet conditions. But also, of course, Mad Mike WHIDDETT getting a 0 with that unfortunate spin. Also, we had drivers like Kazama, who didn't spin out, but wasn't really too confident in attacking the track at full speed. Also getting an incomplete. Also saw there Kazuyo Taguchi as well, actually doing really well, but for the first half of the course, but then down towards the final inner clip, the hairpin, coming up short and running over the inside of the track. So we're still working out exactly what's going to happen here at Formula Drift Japan round 2. Of course, we'd like to move on to the second qualifying run as soon as possible. So of course, there's various things we need to do to make it 100% fair for all the drivers concerned, and also just you know, get some good runs for the spectators to watch as well.
Overhearing a few more bits of the conversation, sounds like that they will make a call at about 2:50 to either move forward or go on delay. It looks like they're leaning towards moving forward, so that's about 6 minutes from now. I imagine that we'll stay on air or go to commercial break, but that's the latest update as of now.
Okay, so about 6 or 7 minutes from now, we will have a decision about what we will do for the second half of qualifying today at Formula Drift Japan round 2. I was sort of making jokes yesterday about Ebisu weather and this sort of conditions you see here sometimes, and this is a perfect example of it. Nice and sunny, good in the morning, a bit cloudy, bit of rain, teases you with a bit of rain. Oh no, I'll come back later. And it looks like the clouds came, and then he went off and he brought his mates and he came back. And absolutely soaked the track. So it was a bit funny before. We saw conditions where the track surface itself was wet, but then people spitting out into the dirt would throw up dry dust. Okay, so once again, we will have a decision in about 6 minutes from now about what's going to happen here. It's a shame we don't have a chat window so we can sort of interact with that. So once again, we are having the top 32 to top 16 competition tomorrow. If you want to check what time those are on, jump on the Formula Drift Japan Instagram, also Facebook page. Should be pretty easy to search for that. You just type in Formula Drift and then Japan after that. It should bring up the correct result, and you can see what times we'll be doing this tomorrow. normally in this shot you'd be able to see a lovely set of mountains in the background, which is a nice backdrop here at Ebisu Circuit, but unfortunately right now covered in clouds. They were very threatening all of today. Also yesterday afternoon as well. There were a lot of clouds sort of hanging around. Looks like they've all come back today. And it's currently raining big old fat rain down here on the track. It let off a little bit, but it hasn't let off as much as we'd like. We've lowered the plastic sheets over the front of the judging stand here, so we're okay at the moment, but it's not the best conditions to judge in. Just basically can't see the course all that clearly. It's all right. I mean, it's not really that bad, but it could be better. So I think we just got word. Ryan, what were they saying over there?
Sounds like that they are going to begin the first stages of getting the remaining drivers that want to run their second lap out on the course in the reverse order as we go from the top with Nick Wilson to send them out to do their reconnaissance lap. Okay, so we will be continuing qualifying here for round 2. So the situation up until now is all of the drivers have done at least one run. So we're halfway through what would be normal qualifying. So basically the drivers who... We'll take the plastic off that. Basically the drivers who want to do their second run will be able to do that now. Our hard-working director tripping all over everything in the background here, getting all our equipment set up properly for these new conditions. Of course, we have had rain at Formula Drift Japan before, of course, but never anything quite like this. So there we have on the start line there, Morozumi in his S15 Silvia. So we're skipping over, that would be Nick Wilson in the Mark II, and also Tomonori Tasaka in the S15 Silvia. So this is not a qualifying run, this is a check run. We are sending all these guys out on a surface check, and immediately a big spin there for Morozumi. Wow, okay. So Morozumi already with a 66, which would be the reason why he's heading out there right now, wanting to improve on that. So this is not a scored run. Wow, look at the amount of rain there. Great shot from our cameraman. Really illustrating the amount of rain that's out on the track right now. Spraying up as the car flicks sideways. So you can see there once again, this getting waves of rain on the track. So the order will be roughly the same as what we saw there before. So if you're looking to watch one particular driver, they'll be roughly in the same place in the field as what you saw before. But some drivers will not be driving out there. One could only assume those would be the drivers with a fairly good score, but I don't know. I mean, there's quite a lot of scores in the 80s and high 70s. So there's that means that the potential for a lot of these guys to move up in the score is definitely there. Just depends on whether or not their car suits these conditions, and their driving style and skill can also suit these conditions. So everybody out there with a poncho right now. Well, we only have 28 scores, so there's at least 4 open spots right now.
Okay.
And we have 4 zeros, so. Now this is going to be an actual run here.
Okay.
So let's see if he learned something from that recon lap.
Yeah. I would say he did. Yeah, don't throw it so hard into the first corner. But hey, look, I mean, some of the most beautiful drifting you could ever see can be done in the rain. Just gliding around on the track. I guess it's not as fast and as exciting as dry drifting, but I don't know, I quite like it. So this will be a scored run for Morozumi. Now this, the car he's driving, very, very, very orthodox kind of build. S15 Silvia has been a drift competition car for a long time. So, and Morozumi actually working at the DG5 factory in development and testing. So definitely the sort of guy who you'd expect to be able to adapt and adjust to conditions very quickly. But he's definitely going to have to change his strats in these conditions. All right, here we go. We're about to send Morozumi on his second qualifying run. Remember the first time he did, his first run he did was in dry conditions. Looking to improve onto a 66. All right, here we go. All right, coming down the straight. Nice early entry there, just on the handbrake. Really sharp. That's a bit of a straight in there for Morozumi. That's, yeah, look at the amount of standing water on the track there. It's just plowing up.
Yeah, I mean, the question really is going to be how lenient are the judges going to be on some of these, what would otherwise be big mistakes in these conditions, are just, you know, things that are going to happen by the very nature of what the course is giving to us right now. But you'll take a look here. You can see it's a much slower approach, not throwing a huge flick in there, just trying to hold some angle in. He's going to straighten up a little bit.
You can park a semi-trailer between him and the first outer zone there.
And then you can see there's that moving water coming across that center section from outside clip 2 to outside clip 3. And then there's going to be another little shutdown right here.
Whoa, big spin! He's okay.
So
not on the replay, just in real IRL, there, we just had a big pirouette in front of the judging stand. Now that was, who was it? That was Mori, Yoshimi Mori, on his sighting run. So a 0 for Morozumi, so not improving on his 66, so he's going to be stuck with that for the competition tomorrow.
And that is interesting because the judges have basically now laid down what they consider to be unacceptable even in these conditions. So we saw the straightening before the finish line, and we saw the lack of angle from outside zone 1 to inside clip 1. So anything more than that is going to be a 0. Anything less than that may be scored. So we'll take a look as we watch all the drivers.
Yeah, like one or two of those mistakes could have been forgivable, but yeah, Morozumi just making too many mistakes in that run, giving him a 0. So he'll be just he'll be falling back onto a 66. So he is definitely safe to make it through to the top 32 tomorrow. So unfortunately, there was, I don't know if we're going to get a replay of that. Yoshimi Mori in the S15 Silvia came into view backwards. Basically, I looked up and he was already backwards, spinning out in front of the judging stand. So luckily that was his sighting lap. Here he comes back around to the start line.
Looking a little bit worse for wear.
Looks a bit sad. It looks sad. It's a sad car. I don't know what. Not sure why he's dislodged his bumper a little bit. We might have to remove that. That looks, it's a bit too detached. I don't know, we'll see what they have to say. Yeah, we will have, that's definitely a fairway removed from the car. Just looks like it just needs a bit of just a nice axe kick to remove that. course, you may think, oh, it's okay, just send him out. But it does happen sometimes where a bumper will dislodge from a car, even a bumper or especially side skirts will dislodge from a car, get underneath the wheels, which causes the car to spin out. It happens more than you'd think. It's sort of, it almost acts like, what do you call it? Like a McDonald's tray under the rear wheels. Maybe I should have said McDonald's. A fast food tray under the rear wheels, causing the car to spin out. So the crowd.
I feel like we're on the Titanic right now.
Yeah, it's we're getting a bit of wobble. There's a lot of wind here. If it's not the rain, it's the wind. But even the wind is still a factor when it comes to drifting. A lot of these cars, a lot of big aero aids on them. And wind can cause cars to behave in ways you wouldn't expect when you're drifting. Especially when you, like, for example, throw it sideways into a big crosswind. It's not always a huge issue, but it does have an effect. So we have the remaining diehards there. Oh, I hope it's nice. Is it going to be nice weather tomorrow? I didn't look at the...
It's supposed to be really nice tomorrow,
It's supposed to, good, okay. Looking forward to that when we actually have the top 32 competition tomorrow. Top 32 all the way through to the finals. Alright, so Mori just being sent back to get that bumper removed from the car, because we don't have a hot pit at this particular layout, because the pits are basically next to the starting line. You can see there. Okay, here he comes. So he's they've reattached the bumper. So the bumper has been reattached. Yoshimi Mori, as I was saying before, not your typical looking Formula Drift driver. I'd say he's, there he is. That's actually a ponytail he's rocking there. He's a cool guy. He definitely knows his cars. He's built quite a lot of competition cars in the past, but he's out here today in his own S15 Silver. Here he comes. Okay, lots of angle. Okay, this is looking really good so far. A little bit away from the outer zone. Here we go, outer zone number 2. Watch the flick back here. Wow, the amount of water under the wheels there. Aquaplaning around. And just, that's okay. That was just after the finish line, though. Well, actually, is that an issue? Because there was an issue with that a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I do think he was past the finish line, and that's the key part of that. But great job holding it together here. I mean, overall, all things considered, he definitely looked at least fluid and not too many jerky movements, able to maneuver the vehicle in through that area in particular. Very slippery there, through the standing water. Doesn't fill all the zones, but I mean, we're asking a lot of these guys just to make it through the course at this point. So you can see right there, he does straighten out towards the end or past the finish line, so he should be okay there. Now he's looking to better a 64, so that might just do it. That might just do it.
Yeah, so Mori with a score of 64 in his first run. The car very edgy in its handling characteristics in the dry, but I was wondering how it would perform in the wet. He seemed to handle it very well. So we'll see what score we get there for Yoshimi Mori in the S15 Silvia. Looking to improve on a 64. No, great wide shot there, says 62, so not an improvement, unfortunately for him. Just sort of average scores all around from the judges. So Unfortunately, for the rain here, of course, it does make the cars lose a lot of speed and momentum. And unfortunately, it's also made the competition lose a bit of speed and momentum as well. We're having a little bit more of a gap between the runs. Of course, we do have to give these guys a sighting lap to make it fair for everybody, which does slow down the proceedings a little bit. I didn't see who just went around, but I know that they didn't spin out, so let's see which one of our drivers will come out next. So the next driver in the lineup was going to be Atsushi Wachi. Wachi, also an S14 Sylvia, also built by Mr. Mori, the guy we just saw driving then. Actually, yes, that will be him there. So our next driver, with a score of 70, looking to improve that, Atsushi Wachi. So yeah, any of those cars you see there. Team Mori, Mori-san, not only a decent steerer, he also builds, he's one of these guys who sort of builds competition cars to order for other people. Not only drifting, but circuit racing as well. So he seems to be a bit of a dab hand at building drift cars. All right, here we go. Okay, Wachi, S14 Sylvia, up through the gears. Entering nice and early. All right, deep in the outer zone. Can he hold it all the way? Yes, this is a good line. This is the best line we've seen so far in these wet conditions. Now he just has to hold it up. Ah, here we go, here we go. That's going to be on his spotters for not letting him know about that. Oh, that could have been a big waste of a run there for Wachi. But let's watch this replay. Great entry. It's the best we've seen so far in the wet.
Yeah, this is a pretty good job here, and we've started to see some of the scores that have been coming through in these conditions, and I think this is definitely, like you said, one of the better runs. You can see a nice initiation there, holds the line through that first outer zone. The momentum carries him past that first inside clip. Now it gets scary here. Watch, as soon as he hits that, the car loses traction. Then it grabs traction when it comes off that area. So it gives you an idea of just how slick that is. He's able to make it through the course. Overall, good run. Considering the rainy conditions, we've seen a couple guys bypass their second runs. We've seen a 62, we've seen an incomplete, and now we've got Wachi looking to better a 70 on his second run here.
Yeah, so Wachi a 70 on his first run. Not a bad score. So I think it was a case of a good car setup there, which nice. So good score there, 77. So definitely an improvement on his 70, and worth coming out here in these wet conditions. His entry and out of zone run there was the most risky we've seen so far, and obviously paid off for him. So once again, sighting laps. We're giving all these drivers. Rain just sort of holding steady at the moment. Not getting a whole lot worse, not getting a whole lot better. So hopefully, if it at least if it stays consistent for these guys for the rest of the competition here today. So I'm definitely looking forward to some good weather tomorrow. If anyone out there is thinking of visiting Ebisu Circuit for one reason or another, right about from now on is probably not a good time to do it, because this is what's known as Tsuyu. From now on is called Tsuyu. This is basically the rainy season, where you get basically what you're seeing right here. The weather can get really nasty really quick. I would say that the best time is probably the Spring Drift Festival. I think overall has the best weather. This year was very nice. It was just t-shirt weather the entire time. So let's have a look here. Nihonmatsu weather. Sunday, 23 degrees and sunny. So I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit.
Times 2 plus 30, roughly.
Times 2 plus 30. What, 46, 76. Is that right? Can't do math in my head. So 76 American degrees, or 23 rest of the world degrees. So should be good. Looking forward to that. Next driver now, the Eldorado built JZX100 Mark II, Masataka Kawashima. So his first run was a 61. So definitely worth his time and effort to make this second run. So Kawashima with this car. It's been his personal car for a long time now. So recently spec'd it up a bit to build it into a Formula Drift spec car. Here he goes in his entry. It's looking all right so far, not too bad. Oh, throwing it a bit too fast there and returning the opposite direction. That is going to be a no drift for him there. So of course, some of you may be thinking, yeah, but he didn't straighten up. He kept drifting the opposite direction, but that's basically the same thing. Once a car returns from the drift, which it should be doing, that's a non-drift situation, isn't it, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, he does a pretty good job on that first outer zone initiation, but coming through this first inside clip, you can see he just loses forward momentum there, is not able to hold that drift angle, goes to opposite drift, so it'll be an incomplete for him, and he'll have to stick with that 61.
Yeah, that in clip there, it might not look it so much on the video, but it is quite a slow, there we go, 0 there unfortunately for Kawashima. It is quite a slow corner if you don't take it correctly. If you take it correctly, you can carry a fair bit of speed and momentum around that corner, but if you don't get it quite right, you slow down a lot, which means the car's going to grip up, which is what we saw just there. So Kawashima will be going back to his score of 61. So once again, check run here. This is Kuni. If you've ever seen the brand Kunis, this is who it is. Kuniaki Takahashi. He's been campaigning this Toyota Mark X. If you're wondering what this is, it's a Toyota Mark X sedan with the G's front on it. Now what that is, anyone who's a fan of Toyota sedans will know the Chaser, Cresta, Mark II Holy Trinity of sedans. The Mark II, otherwise known as the Cressida in the United States, or the Cressida in Australia, where I'm from. This is basically the final evolution, the final form of the Mark X, of those sorts of cars. JZX 81, before that 61. Etc., 90, 100, and they've basically been molded together into one car itself, which is the Mark X. Of course, these days it's not really financially a good decision to make lots of different cars, which are basically the same, just marketed slightly different. So they have the Mark X sedan, and the G's front. The G's is an optional body kit, which is optional for these cars. Has that very aggressive front headlight design and big scoop on the bumper, and also the bonnet or the hood is a slightly different design as well. So it's sort of the cool version. And unfortunately, these cars all came, they mostly came automatic. There were some very, very limited edition factory manuals. But of course, this one here driven by Kuniaki, 2JZ manual, of course. Coming standard with a V6, the 2GR engine, which is one of Toyota's, sort of worldwide standard engines now. I don't know, I really like the look of this car. It looks a bit like a UFO.
Yeah, I love this car.
Yeah, it looks cool. So yeah, Kuni, this is his car. He's been running a Mark X for a while now. So bringing it out here to Formula Drift Japan. So here we go. Here we have the second qualifying run for Kuniaki. All right, here we go. The entry, nice and early, very smooth. Okay, this is looking good so far for Kuniaki. This is the sort of thing we want to see. Smooth driving in this round. Now watch the flick back, keeping it just off the painted line. Yeah, quite slow there, but you couldn't really expect them to have any more of a rate of angle change there than what you just saw there. So nice, conservative, clean run. Once again, it's really obvious the kind of guys who, that's not Yoshida, that's Takahashi. It's really obvious the guys who have, they've seen these conditions before.
Yeah, the guys that are used to it, you can definitely tell the difference here. And sitting on that 62, looking at better than what we've seen already, that driving in these conditions can certainly be rewarded. We saw Wachi go from a 70 to a 77, and now with Takahashi sitting on a 62, if he could get up into that 70 range, it's really going to position him much better than where he currently is right now at the lower end of the scoring bracket. So taking a look at the run here one more time, you can see he does a pretty decent job. Fluid most of the way through, just trying to connect every outside zone and inside clip as best he can without chopping up the course. And there you go, you see an improvement by 10 points.
Great score there, 76.
14 points rather.
14, yeah, that's a really big improvement on his score there. I'm just sort of hoping this tent doesn't go flying that we're in. Ladies and gentlemen, we're being fairly heavily buffeted here by the wind. Like I said, the judges doing double duty as human weights holding down the struts of the tent that we're in. You can quite clearly see there on the screen how windy it is. Did you guys? You forgot to pay for the good weather package.
Yeah, we did.
Saturday and Sunday. You only got the Sunday package.
Yeah. When we used to go to Southeast Asia, we would get a witch doctor to help us out with that.
Really?
Huh?
No joke.
No joke. Oh boy.
All right. Well, if it all goes down, it was good knowing you.
Yeah.
So you can see that's us on just to the right of screen there. That white tent, that's us. So we are on the edge of a cliff. All right, let's just pretend we're on the Titanic and we'll play. We'll be like the guys playing the violin. Just ignore it and make the best of the situation right here. Next driver, Yoshida, Super Made Yoshida. Which Supermade makes one of the coolest lines of body kits ever, called Instant Gentleman, which I think is one of the greatest names for a body kit ever. Of course, over in the States, of course, there's the Super Doof kits as well that quite a few of the Formula Drift drivers run as well. I know it's a pretty cool name too, but Instant Gentleman, very good name. Takanori Yoshida, Supermade Racing S15 now, running 15-inch wheels. And glitter candy paint. Yoshida really believes in looking good while he's drifting. So sometimes he sort of suffers on the higher speed tracks as a result of the car he's chosen to drive. But basically he's built his entire reputation and look on this particular style, so it wouldn't really make sense for him to change it. So once again, the wind sort of playing havoc, knocking down some of the witches' hats down near the track, which was it was meant to be the media area, but right now there are precisely two of the cameramen, like the photographers, still out there. They're probably the only guys who actually brought all their full wet weather gear. Of course, we don't want any of the witches' hats to go flying into the track while the guys are driving. There we go, you can see, yeah. Let's get rid of those.
There goes one floating downstream.
I was floating. It was like it came to.
We're slowly but surely being chipped away by nature here.
Maybe last night we should have gone up the road to the shrine and made some offerings or something. Yeah, but look, I don't think it would have made a difference. Just Ebisu just has this kind of weather. It just does it sometimes. I remember once there was a time I was up here, and Andy Gray, one of our drivers here today, who has his, as we mentioned before, has his workshop at the circuit. He was washing a car to get it ready to send it away for export, and he washed it. And do you call it a chamois or chamois? What do you call it?
Chamois.
Chamois. Okay. A chamois. Chamois. That's different. He'd chamoised it down. It was all nice and clean, ready to go. And literally at that moment, it started to sprinkle rain, and then there was a very strong breeze that blew, and it just blew dust all over his car. And he literally rage quit. Like, it was about 3:30 in the afternoon, and he just basically threw his stuff down and just went, F it, and went home. So yeah, it's the kind of weather at Ebisu that you just have to expect that sort of thing here. And he said it in his thick Scottish accent as well, which made it even funnier. All right, so we're just waiting to make sure the track is 100% safe before we send Yoshida out. Of course, you know, warming up doesn't really make much of a difference in these conditions. And the track conditions haven't really changed from when Yoshida did his sighting lap, so he should be okay. I remember once back when I was in Australia, I mean, of course, at Ebisu circuit, if you want to drift, it's one of the best places in the world, simply for the reason that it's open 7 days a week, and you can drift literally whenever you feel like it, weekday, weekend. But I mean, I know a lot of people overseas in the United States, but especially places like Europe, where they get very, very limited track time in certain parts of the world, certain countries. You take advantage of whatever you can. And I was back in Australia. We had a track day there. At my track, so my circuit, what do you call it? Drift Club, Initial Drift, very original name. We had a track day, and it started hailing, like decent hail, and we were all like, no, we're just going to go out. Like, the track was like, oh, you better come off. It's hailing. We're like, no, we paid for this time. We're gonna go out. It's hailing. We don't care. So here comes Yoshida. Super made on his second qualifying run. Whoa, running a bit wide. That was a big understeer there for him on that entry. So watch the second half of the course. Yeah, keeping it well away from the outer zone. And once again, well away from the outer zone. I'm not really sure this is going to be a big improvement over his 55. Looks like he didn't really know what to make of the track. He threw it in on the entry, and the car did not rotate around as he expected, and I think that threw him off for the rest of the track. Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at this big straightening here, because I think this is going to be the biggest factor. Coming in right there, you can see he just kind of grips up, and he's not able to hold the angle through that first outer zone. And so we'll see whether or not that's scored. I'm seeing a couple numbers come through, and that's going to be a no. So that will be sticking with his 55 and an incomplete on run number 2. That's a shame. So Yoshida, so he'll have his 55. Of course, he does have the score. It's looking a bit average for him, whether he's going to make it through to the top 32 or not. Depends on what we see from the rest of the drivers, because we do have a couple of retirements. Also, we still do have a few zeros. So Yoshida still has a chance to make it through, but it's going to be fairly skin of teeth situation for him. 55, I think, is the lowest score. No, sorry, no, we have 2 other scores which are lower. So, no, 3 other scores which are lower so far. But still, those guys still do have another chance to improve, and those are people like, for example, Yoshinori Shinozaki. Well, this next one's going to be big, because this is our first 0 that we have here. Okay, so
First incomplete from last run, and that's Fukada.
Fukada, okay, so Fukada, yeah. Earlier today, Fukada always has bad luck with his car. If it's not one thing, it's the other. But today it was the main seal, the main oil seal. I saw it sitting on the ground in the pit. It was pretty chewed up, so I'm not really sure how that happened. But he had to replace that. But he managed to do it with the engine still in the car, which is a feat in itself. And getting a 0 in his first run, so let's see how he does in this run.
That's like the bow breaking. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
We're getting some harmonic resonance from the wind and the tent now. Not really sure that's a good idea. Like that's going to rip open.
Well, that one over there already has.
It has. Oh,
yeah.
Wow, okay.
So
we've got our floor director with the roller gaff doing his best. We can't complain really. I mean, we're sitting here, we're not in the rain, we've got a nice broadcast monitor in front of us, we're right above the main corner. It could be worse. This is probably one of the best ways to judge. Like, this is the best way to judge in these conditions, I'd say. There's no better way we can do it. Considering how wet and windy it is here right now. The weather right now, 40% chance of rain, 40. And it looks like it's roughly going to end when we finish qualifying. Yeah. So once again, welcome to round 2 of Formula Drift Japan. This is your qualifying we have here today. Main competition is tomorrow. Top 32 all the way through to top 16. Of course, we were talking before about whether we should run the second run of qualifying tomorrow morning, but that'd probably take up too much time for everybody concerned. So we're just powering through right now, giving an option to all the drivers who want to drive. All right, so just as we prepare for the next run, we're going to head to another commercial break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. It is the apocalypse here at Ebisu Circuit. Wind, rain, disaster. Ryan Sage, the tent around us is groaning from the pressure. Ladies and gentlemen, this is drifting. This is round 2 of Formula Drift Japan here at Ebisu Circuit. Wow, the conditions here are amazing. If this is bad enough to drive in, like if this was, you know, commuting conditions, there'd be weather warnings on TV, but never mind that. Here we go. Krista Jaeger, Mark II, doing his second qualifying run. Here we go. Too much of a throw. Can he hold it? No, that's a spin.
Stop. He's out.
Does that mean 0-0 for Krista Jaeger?
Yep.
Oh dear. That's not good at all. That's not good at all. Oh dear. So Chris, getting a 0 in his first run, which was in dry conditions earlier this morning. And just now, a 0. And unfortunately for him, due to the rules for Formula Drift, 0-0 in qualifying automatically means, Ryan Sage, no entries. That's correct, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, wow, okay. I don't want to, you know, lay on the story, but Chris just literally spent the past 2 weeks here at Ebisu, day and night, building that car. for this competition here today. And he just potatoed that second run and got a 0-0. Wow. Okay. That's a real big shame for him there. All right, so moving on. We're skipping over Masayo Minowa, who has a 49, so she does at least have a score on the board. We're skipping over her to Shinozaki, Yoshinori Shinozaki. Here comes his second qualifying run. He has a 48 in his first run. And a straight in there from him as well.
It's done.
That's going to be a 0 for Shinozaki, so he's going to have to ride his score of 48.
All these guys are going to be fine because Fukada, who we thought would run, didn't. Right. He had a 0. That means one more low score is going to make it in. De Jager was our other 0.
So Fukada was a 0-0 too?
He didn't run the second run.
Oh, so he didn't.
And then after those two, we have 2 more. We have Mike WHIDDETT, who's coming. And then we have Kazama. Those are our last 2 zeros. So those guys need to go out and get a score either way, whether or not we fill the full list. Oh, you know what? You're right.
Taguchi.
And Taguchi.
Yeah.
So 3.
So we have 3 more. 3 more zeros which need to put a score down in these, as you can see, very treacherous conditions here at Ebisu Circuit, at Ebisu Nishi Circuit. Qualifying, I mean, we've had a lot of this sort of drama in qualifying so far. I mean, we've only had this done in the second round this year. But round 1 of qualifying at Suzuka Twin Circuit also, we had a big string. It looked like a gold chain coming down the page. It was just like 0-0, like chain links coming all the way down the page. So yeah, score there 0 for Shinozaki, we saw there. All right, next driver, Tetsuya Iha. He's already sitting on a score of 54, so nothing too big in the way of pressure for him, but there's still a massive amount of improvement. So big flick, and can he keep going? No. 0 there for Iha in the Crown sedan. Of course, we had James Tang in the BMW 120i. He had a score of 67, and he decided not to run. Of course, what we've given the drivers is a choice. They can run or they can pass and not do their second qualifying run if they feel their score is good enough. And that can be a wise decision. There we go, 0, make it official for Iha. That can be a wise decision in these conditions. The dirt wall on the outside of the outer zone number 1, it doesn't look that dangerous, but it can be depending on how you hit it. If you sort of hit it at the right angle, it can be fine. If you hit it at the wrong angle, it can be a demolished quarter or a destroyed suspension, or at worst, a rollover, which can happen. All right, next driver now, Car Guy Racing, Shinichiro Saito, 180SX, big wide body car now. Big long handbrake slide, back on the accelerator. You know, he's managed to keep that drift all the way around. Watch the flick back. That was a straight in there too. And a straight in there again before the finish line. These conditions are not making these guys look good at all. Let's watch this replay.
Well, he was holding it together at the beginning. I mean, there were some definite scary moments there, but I think between outer zone 2 and 3, he had to straighten, and then at the finish line, I think that was too much to overcome, and I'm nearly positive the judges are going to get this an incomplete. Let's look at the first straighten. Watch right here, coming out of outer zone 2 on the transition back, that one. He reinitiates, and then right here, he's going to come through this last section and just can't hold it and drive through the finish line straight. So I think that's going to be an incomplete.
Wow. That run there for Shinichiro Saito. Oh, and at least half of these guys are spitting on their sight laps. So here comes our next. Yeah, this is very, very difficult conditions here on Nishi course. So Shinichiro Saito, we just saw there in the 180SX, he will be rolling back to his 54 that he got in his first qualifying run back when it was dry. So once again, the next group of 3 drivers getting their sighting lap, checking the course conditions. There's not really a whole lot that these guys can do to get ready for these wet conditions, apart from maybe some drivers may have a different set of tires on the rear. Tires that they feel more, like a make of tire they feel more confident in the wet, especially for these guys who aren't tire sponsored. They're free to choose whatever tires they want. Of course, tire type, also tire pressure can be adjusted. Also damper settings. But there's not a whole lot that these guys can do to change their cars to perform better in wet conditions, apart from just change their driving style.
Look at Alexi, a rainbow.
Really? Oh, there is 2. Ah, there is 2.
See, you can see it in real
life. You can see it real. You can see it IRL as well. Just if you look out to the side, it's a rainbow. Beautiful. Oh. It's a very low rainbow, isn't it? I guess we're up in the mountains. That's why. Oh, was that Harino? My apologies. That was actually, was that Jin Harino? So it looks like the rain has stopped. So it actually looks like the rain has stopped here, finally. So that has by no means changed the course conditions. Whoa. All right, we're just double checking what's going on here. Oh, okay, so we just... So just a little bit of confusion there with Saito, who was told to line up again. We're just double checking that we didn't actually score his sighting run, that it was indeed his actual run. Just confirming that that was a 0 for Saito on his run. So next we would have had Hubert Lee from Hong Kong. Unfortunately, I think I haven't seen his car since this morning after it crashed, so I'm going to say that he's scratching for today as well. Our next driver in the lineup, Hayato MIYOSHI, already sitting on a score of 86 in his first run, so electing not to take his second qualifying run. Moving on to our next driver, car number 17, Jin Harino in the S15 Sylvia. Okay, so here we go. So this is the scoring run for Jin Harino. Okay, let's see what sort of strat he takes for this approach and entry. Nice and early. So plenty of speed, holding all the way out of zone. Watch that wobble there. That was him just trying to keep the drift going. Out of zone, all the way out, all the way out. Oh, 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 oh. Great job there, both out of zones.
Yeah, this is a good run.
Ping pong back and forth. This is actually a very solid run overall for Jin Harino. Even if it was a dry run, it would have been fairly good, but he did make a really concerted effort to hit all the correct points in this run.
Yeah, and he must be very motivated because he already has an 83 in his first run, so he's not going anywhere, but looking to maybe try to better that here. And you can see he's not going all the way out to that outer zone, but I think smartly not doing that because of the painted curbing. But the rest of the course, he stays pretty consistent, pretty fluid, all things considered. Doesn't make too many mistakes. Good run.
Yeah, overall, very good run there. Let's see what the judge have to say. Oh, so that's unfortunate for him. An 82. So his first run, which was in the dry, a score of 83, was still better than that. But on the other hand, though, nice and consistent for him there. So similar scores, showing that his runs have been consistent so far today. Of course, Harino also a professional racing car driver, so experienced in these sorts of things. Mental aspect of having to drive in different conditions. All right, next driver is going to come out now. We have Kanta Yanaguida. Top Tool Racing, PS13 Sylvia. His first score was a 67. Up through the gears, flicking it in, nice and early now. Will he be able to hold this angle all the way to the inner clip?
Nice.
Just barely, yes. Now watch, now is his line okay here? Yes, he goes out to the outer zone very early. Second, third outer zone okay. Inner clip here, keep it going, just tags the inner clip. That's not a bad run for him either. I
think he will better that 67 because if Jin Harino got an 82, that wasn't too dissimilar.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that the judges are going to get him for is the entry itself was very good. Good. Watch this angle here.
And pretty quick,
Lots
too.
of angle. Yeah, good speed. But right about here, watch it. He comes in. This is still okay. But right about here, watch how far back he is.
Yeah,
on the track.
second outer zone, yeah.
He comes out, his peak outline is almost before the outer zone starts. That's pretty much the only problem with that run. But overall, it's still a very good run there. So it should be an improvement over his first score of a 67. So Kanta Yanaguida, also a very young guy. Pretty sure he's the youngest driver out here today.
There you go.
Score there, 73. Great result for him there. 73, so moving up the ranks. Kanta Yanaguida. All right, next driver, Kazuya Izuka, all the way from West Tokyo in Hachioji. It's also where Dai Yoshiharu is from, same town. Yeah. So actually, a lot of very good drifters from that particular part of Tokyo. It's sort of the city west of Tokyo. It's still in Tokyo though, but it is extremely close to the mountains just to the west of Tokyo. So that's why you get a lot of good drifters who come from that particular area. All right, here he comes. Enters nice and early again. Again, good angle. Holding all the way out to the outer zone. Good in clip. He has to keep it going here. All the way to the edge of the track, outer zone. Flick it back. His entire line there was kind of shifted about 2 or 3 meters to the right. He hit the second outer zone very deep, but then missed the third outer zone.
Yeah, the first part of the run though was actually pretty fun to watch. I mean, I think this is the deepest we've seen somebody go into this first outer zone without going off course. You can see riding that line all the way there. I mean, you can't really get much better than that, almost even in dry conditions. And he's drawing a nice fluid line. But right here, he's just going to go a little bit too aggressive, goes off course, has to make a little bit of a readjustment here, misses that third outer zone, but brings it back around to that last inside clip. So he had a 70 on run number 1. I think he's probably going to better that.
That would be a safe bet to take. Yeah, you can see here with the atmospheric conditions cleared up a bit, you can really see how where the water collects on the track. And it's right there between outer zone 2 and 3. There's sort of a little standing water. It's not really standing, it's kind of like the water that's flowing from the top half of the track down to the bottom half. It kind of flows across right there, so that can make things tricky. That can be a reason why we see people in the wet. Their transitions between outer zone 2 and 3 are quite slow. That can be a reason why. Alright, so this is good. We're building up momentum here in qualifying. Score of 75. So, yes, an improvement for Iizuka. Moving up from a 70 to a 75. His second qualifying run. Next driver now, Takatoshi Imamaeda. Navigate with Pisky with Zestino. Sponsored. I'm not sure what Pisky is. I have to go and ask Imamaeda about that. All right, he's our starter. Almost off balance when he has to click the starter with his foot. That's how windy it is here today. Whoa. So Imamaeda, did he forget he had to do the chicane there for a second there? Looking good so far. Out of zone number 1, brings it in a clip. On and off the accelerator. Watch the flick, you can see how much water is still there on the track. Quite slow. It doesn't look like he's getting the grip down with the rear tires in these runs. So overall, kind of slow, I think.
You can see getting aggressive there coming through the chicane. My guess is going to be a 76. Look how early the initiation is, way before the third standing cone. Pretty good job right there on that first outer zone. And you can see, again, like Iizuka, is pretty fluid through that first inside clip. Doesn't get out to the second outer zone as much as you'd like, but again, in these conditions and in that area in particular, very slippery. Holds it through that second section of the course there and through the finish line. Might even be higher than the 76. I'm not 100% staking my life on it, but definitely pretty good run overall.
Oh yeah, that entry, the line of that entry. I mean, you can sort of see from that opposite camera angle when the cars come down.
Yeah.
79. Great run, well worth the effort to come out for the second run in the wet.
The pressure is on right now for our next driver.
Our next driver being... we can hear him on the start line. Next driver is Mad Mike. First run, big duck egg, 0 on his first qualifying run. So he has to put down a score. Of course, as we said before, even if the top 32 bracket is not full, qualifying drivers do have to put down at least one scored run to make it through. So the pressure is on here for Mike. Of course, at a previous event, winning at this track. So the pressure is on for Mad Mike here in the TCP Magic Quad Rotor RX-7. All right, here we go. All eyes on him. Up through the gears. And flicks it in. A little bit of a wobble there. It's looking okay. Sort of a middle line.
Hold it together, hold it
Really,
together.
all he has to do is just keep it off there. There you go. Flick it back.
There you go.
Hold it, hold it.
Practice run.
Ugh.
Just do that, Mike. Whoa, our camera guy's getting blown all over the place. Jeez. Look at that.
All right. It's looking all right. So it's looking all right for these guys so far. It's nerve-wracking to watch. And the thing is, with these strong wind conditions, that can be as effective at drying out the track sometimes as much as nice bright sunshine. So you can see right there in the middle of the track there, that bit of water. we only have 2 drivers go out to do their check run then? Of course, Mike, WHIDDETT, and KAZUTO ICHIYANAGI. Here comes WHIDDETT and ICHIYANAGI back around to the start line. That's where the burnout box is located. There's a chicane section just at the top of the straight, and it's within that chicane. It's sort of off the track, which is where the burnout box is. So it's quite good. You know, it means that the guys don't have to do burnouts on the track itself, which is also for the track. It's sort of an off-track section, which is still on the track. So it's a good place to warm up your tyres. About to go Mad Mike's second qualifying run, his first run, a 0, needs to improve on that. Basically anything will do. Let's see how he's going to attack this second qualifying run. Alright, it's looking pretty good so far. Alright, in a clip, out of zone, now flick it back through here, get it done. There you go. Out of zone 2, in a clip. And over the finish line, so there we go. So Mad Mike will have a score to put on the board.
Got a little hairy there coming out of inside clip 1, but
yeah,
he was able to keep the car in a drift motion. Didn't hit the second and third outer zone really, but you know, he's just got to get a score on the board.
Can't blame him, to be honest.
Nice mellow initiation here, trying to get out to that first outer zone. That's probably the best part of the run there. Right here, this is where it gets a little bit hairy, and he's got to kind of take drastic measures to drive almost across the course without bringing the car straight, and he is able to get through it. Not the prettiest, as they say, but
no, in that case, no, not the prettiest, but those numbers right there will look pretty good to Mike. 71. So he has a score on the board. He'll be making it through to the top 32 tomorrow. Rip. So at least we've gotten rid of the rain, but we've still got the wind. So tomorrow this view will be filled with the sight of cars lining up side by side for tandem battles. So be sure to join us then, but for now, we're getting towards the end of qualifying for round 2 of Formula Drift Japan. If we can survive this wind, which is threatening to blow down our qualifying in just 10. That's basically, yeah, it's Big Bad Bull blowing in the door. Here comes ICHIYANAGI, RB26. You can see the cameraman getting blown around there. Okay, this is looking pretty good so far. Nice, coming off the outer zone very early. Not enough speed to maintain the kind of angle he tried to wind on there. And flick it back, second, third, outer zone, looking okay so far.
Hold it, hold it.
So he does have a 68 on his first run. He's hoping to improve on that. Let's watch this replay here. So the entry looked pretty good, but watch him come off the first outer zone.
And the wind really picks up as he heads through the chicane. You can see our camera guy really shaking there. He's on a pretty sturdy platform, but it's going crazy. And ICHIYANAGI managed to get through that first section of the course without too many mistakes given the conditions here. he, like Mike, has a little bit of a struggle to get from inside clip 1 to inside clip or outer zone number 2. So kind of having to drive across the course without as much angle as you'd like, but able to get through. He's looking to better that 68. It's going to be pretty close. I think he may do it.
Yeah, I think he's going to guess his score is going to be fairly similar to his previous score. Here we go with our next group of drivers getting a cycling lap. The track's still wet. We're not really seeing much in the way of smoke. So score there, 74. So an improvement over his first score of 68. So great run there for ICHIYANAGI. See there in our second run so far, quite a few people who had scores in the 60s so far have moved up to 70s. So we have, let's see, for example, Kuniaki Takahashi from a 62 to a 76. Also Yanaguida in the bright green S13 Sylvia, 67 to 74. And just there we saw ICHIYANAGI go from a 68 to a 74. But of course we are moving down the qualifying order, and as we are, we're moving up in the points. So the closer we get to the end of qualifying, the closer we are to the current points ranking champion, which is Koichi Yamashita in the JZX 100 Mark II, built by Teamwork and Weld. Actually built by the Weld Workshop, sponsored by Teamwork. Our floor director down here doing double duty, making sure everything's tied down. You can just sort of barely see the mountains there in the background. Some of them actually still have snow on them, little patches up the top. So, yeah, conditions here at Ebisu, very varied. In winter, this circuit is covered in about 4 or 5 feet of snow. And occasionally, if the conditions are right, they tamp it down. We have snow drifting on this particular track, which I did this year, which is a lot of fun.
What do you mean tamp it down?
Like what they have, they built this thing, it's basically a trailer they built up that they tow behind a four-wheel drive, and it's like a bunch of wheels, all like on a big axle, and like you tamp it down. Like,
oh, it compresses it.
Yeah.
And then it makes it harder, so you can. Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So it gets, they dig out a little track, like they skim off the first like couple of feet of snow, and then squash down the rest of it, so you have like a little track to drive on.
That's awesome.
It gets icy quite quickly, but it's still a lot of fun. All right, here we go. Next run, we're about to begin. Daichi Oshiro already has a score of 78. His first run was a blinder of a run, really got me excited. And once again, big angle. Can he hold this angle all the way down to the first inner clip? Yes, he can. A little bit of a hesitation there, a bit early out to the second outer zone, third outer zone, big rooster tail of water spraying up there, inner clip. Nice consistent run there. So once again, that first run for Oshiro, 78, not just a fluke, he's done it again.
Yeah, good second run here. Very confident in his driving. Nice strong start. Let's take a look at the initiation. Kind of rolls into it, puts some angle in the car, gets out to that first outer zone, fills it pretty well, heads towards that first inside clip. Momentum carries him pretty deep, so he's not able to completely fill that second outer zone, but as he drives back across, does a much better job on that third outer zone, and nice and tight here on that last inside clip. So looking to better a 78, definitely lays down a very strong, consistent and committed run, all things considered, as the conditions continue to be a challenge here, though that they do seem to be improving.
Decent run there for Daichi Oshiro, 74, so not as good as his first run of a 78, so he'll be holding on to that 78 for the ranking order. So Oshiro showing a good amount of track knowledge. He played the course quite well considering the conditions. Next driver now will be car 55, Toshiharu Kazama from Kazama Auto.
Oh, shit. Oh, whoops. Sorry.
Never mind that.
Kind of scary in here for a second.
Kind of scary for a second there. The wind picked up, but never mind that. Never mind the wind. We're gonna continue here with the runs. Kazama, his first run was nowhere near as good as he's doing right now. Out of zone, all the way. Whoa, that's risky right there. Flicks it back, keeps his drift going. Don't spin out here, keep it going. There you go, you can just see winding the lock off. He realized he'd thrown it a bit too hard. Drive it over the finish line. His first run, a 0, but he's definitely going to get a score for this, so that's Kazama.
Definitely having a nice score on the board here after run number 2 will be Kazama. Comes into it with a pretty solid approach here. Tries to get out to that first outer zone, a little bit long on that first inside clip, but keeping angle in the car, managing to get through that second section there. Gets pretty deep into that second outer zone, misses the third outer zone, and a little bit long on that last inside clip, but with that 0, he'll definitely improve, and we'll see where that puts him into the lineup for tomorrow.
Yeah, so a 0 in his first run, but hopefully a scored second run. There we go, 67, so Kazama through to the top 32. In his 2JZ powered S15 Sylvia. So a big difference from his first run, which was looked like he backed off and just sort of threw the run because he wasn't really sure about the conditions. But overall, luckily the overall conditions and his tactics came together, giving him a score for tomorrow. Okay, next driver now, Wataru Masuyama. S15 Sylvia, again, 2JZ powered. His first score is 69.
Oh boy.
As the wind picks up here at Ebisu Circuit, he throws it in, keeping it at outer zone number 1. A long handbrake extension. Outer zone 2, outer zone 3. He's looking for an improvement on a 69. Will that run be good enough for a 69? I'm not really too sure about that. It was a huge handbrake extension trying to make it into the inner clip number 1.
Take a look at the replay again here. Second run, like you said, Alexi, a 69. Big early initiation there, but a big e-brake pull. You've seen some other drivers that are managing to get through there, using the angle and letting the car slide out. So like you said, he's got that 69, kind of driving through the course, just making sure he doesn't spin, gets through the course without a 0, but we'll have some work to do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that'll be an improvement over a 69, but look at the track. It looks, some parts of it look dry right now. It's this wind that's just like, I mean, the wind itself is not that warm. It's definitely not warm. I'm quite cold right now, but it's like blow drying the track. It's like a jet dryer.
And there's our first little glance of smoke there.
Yeah. See there from this single section of the track looking like they're drying up. So score there 67. Just barely. Masuyama a 67. So not an improvement over his first run score, 69. I'm pretty sure it was that big, long, slow handbrake extension that took away points from that run. Other than that, it was fairly solid. So once again, conditions changing by the minute here at Ebisu Circuit, but of course we are giving all these guys a 1-run check, which means that the track should technically be fairly similar to their first run, to their check run, which means that everybody is driving on an equal footing. So the weather not playing those games with us, making up its own rules. So right now it's very windy. It's not raining, but it's very windy. So we're down to our top 6 drivers here in today's competition. we have to do is just make sure that we get these guys through the course safely. So yeah, Andy Gray with his wipers on, no wind, no rain falling though, but oh, there you go, just shut them off. So Andrew Gray, first run score of 87. Possibility to improve on that is not outside the realms of imagination, especially for Andy, who's doing this course quite a lot. Here we go, up through gears, already spinning his tyres. Nice out, all the way to the edge of outer zone, number 1, in a clip. And watch him go to the edge of the track here. He's going to go all the way to the edge, there we go. Nice, just barely missing the outer zone pylons. Nice, clean run there for Andy Gray. That was a good run.
That was a great run, yeah. Really able to take some calculated risks here and using that skill set that he has. Starts off strong. Middle section of the course was exemplary, and the latter section of the course was very strong. He fills that first outer zone. Seeing it from a different angle here. Nice and tight on that inside clip. Now watch this second outer zone here. He's going to get the butt of the car right there without spinning out. Drive across pretty smoothly. Great job there on that third outer zone, and nice and tight on this inside clip. I would not be surprised if we do see a comparable score on this second run. He had an 87.
Gray scored 87 on his first run. So
wow.
87, 88.
He betters it.
There you go.
It was worth it.
Yeah. So our next driver, our final 0 in these half-wet conditions. This is not ideal. Kazuya Taguchi, you can see there, the Up Garage sponsored S15 Sylvia. Sheng Lian spins into view in front of the judging stand. Not ideal conditions to go into with a 0 on the scoreboard, which is exactly the situation that Kazuya Taguchi is in right now. So Taguchi driving this SR20 powered S15 Sylvia. Usually performing quite well in previous years' competition. Also, as you can see, he's at the top end of the field for points right now. The pressure is on right now. He needs to get at least a score. And looking at the track right now, it's patches of it are starting to dry out. Here he comes back around to the start line. Kazuya Taguchi will be doing his second run very shortly, followed by Sheng Lian, who's already sitting on a score of 82, so not that much pressure on him to get a better score, because it can always be improved on. So a quick spin of the tyres there for Kazuya Taguchi in the burnout box, heading down to the start line. So unfortunately, because of these conditions, we've had to run this format, which is we give all the drivers a sighting lap to check the conditions, which does add a bit of time to the proceedings, unfortunately. But don't worry, we're almost at the end of qualifying, and we have our best drivers to go.
Big pressure here.
Yeah. Just, got that big 0 hovering in front of his eyes right now. R18 Kazuya Taguchi, second qualifying run now. Has a 0 in his first run. He needs to put a score down, so anything like a spin or a big straight or a course out will spell disaster for potentially his entire campaign for this year's season. Here we go. That's looking right so far. Hard on the accelerator, keeping the car going. He has to keep the drift going here. Out of zone number 2, very early. Gingerly switches back, keeps the drift going. All he has to do is make it past those 2 cones there. Okay, he's got it. So Kazuya Taguchi will be getting a score down, and he should be moving through to the top 32. Wow.
Really interesting here. Look at the track as Taguchi comes down. You can see these areas that have been wind blown to dry. So you're getting some conditions where some water's coming up, then it's getting a little bit dry. Now it's back into the wet. This is where a lot of the drivers are going very deep, and they're having to make their way into outer zone 2 by really spinning the tires and trying to keep those front wheels at lock. And then the rest of the course is still pretty wet. So great job by Taguchi there. Get a score on the board. It's probably going to be high, well,
60. You were going to say high 50s, right?
I was thinking better than that, but score's a score.
60. So yeah, style. Yeah, there was a bit. I mean, there was that situation there where he put the power down, entered the course, but then got back on the power. Now that's something that we don't really like to see. You should be able to hold your speed all the way through without having to get back on the accelerator to give the car some extra momentum forward, which he did. But hey, it's a score. We're just going to see him out there tomorrow.
We're getting rain again.
Next driver now, Sheng Nian with the rain again.
Oh,
Big angle, this is going to be a spin.
Could be done, could be done.
That's it. And spins it back the other way. It's okay though. Sheng Nian, a score of 82 on his first run. So that's going to be okay for him. Of course, it doesn't hurt to try. But he didn't come all this way to not run. So second run there for Sheng Nian. So our following drivers. Is that it? So the next drivers we have to go are Kazumi Takahashi, Shinji Minowa, and Koichi Yamashita, who all have scores on the board. So I'm not sure if any of them are going to run or not.
We heard no more cars are going to run, and then the track ops are saying 3 more. So there looks like a little bit of miscommunication here, but
I heard them say Shuryo as well, which means Mada Sandai ga hashiru? Hashiru? Okay, well, we have 3 cars to go. Whether they're coming or not is what we're finding out. Of course, you know, it is optional for these guys to run. They don't have to. It would make sense really for Shinji Minowa to do a run, considering
it would also make sense for Yamashita to do it as well, because Andrew Gray has an 87 and an 88, and Yamashita has an 88. That means that would automatically make Andrew Gray the #1 qualifier because it's the second highest score.
I see. But I think we're getting word that no, Yamashita is not running.
All right, so he's second place.
Neither is Minowa, and neither is Takahashi. So that means we have our finalized results for qualifying here for round 2 of Formula Drift Japan. And these conditions, ladies and gentlemen, that's us. Hello. That's us over here. Can you see it there? Yeah, I'm going to touch the thing here. That's me there on the left of the screen. These are the conditions. You can see the camera, which is just right. See the camera right there, and I'm pointing at it. The wind has blown it, so it's facing like over there. So yeah, there we go. Crazy conditions. Ebisu weather here. You can see the camera there. Ebisu weather, as it's known here at Ebisu Circuit. So thank you so much for sticking out with us here for round 2 qualifying of Formula Drift Japan.